Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ottawa, Ontario, Canada for Capital City Bloodbath 2019. We got 100 and not 19 anymore because some people went home, but around 120 folks playing in an ITC major tournament here in Canada. Now, I just want you to know, 120 people, you're probably thinking, I guess that's pretty good. Just remember, Canada is about 1/10 the size of America. Anything that we do, multiply it by 10, you got the equivalent of an American tournament. That means this is a 1,119? I don't know. Anyway, it's a big tournament, guys, by Canadian standards and global standards alike. Yesterday, I was giving tournament reports throughout the broadcast, and I thought I was having a lot of fun, and we're going to just catch up a little bit of what happened yesterday, and then we're going to talk about the top 10. So right now on stream, we've got, for your viewing pleasure, Scary, a.k.a. Scary from Scaredcast. He's going up against Mael from Krypton. It's going to be Drew Kari versus Harlequin Eldari matchup. Should be actually super good and exciting. We got two really good players. Scary won this tournament last year, so seeing him on top table is no surprise. However, top table is not the only thing you should care about, because with as many players as we have, there will be at least 2 undefeated players at the end of today. So they need to max their battle points. You need big wins if you want to take home the Sigilite. So finishing yesterday, we'll start off with how Scary got here. He was playing Dan Platt, a 2-time winner of this event back in 7th edition. He just, well, Dan got platted. And that was the end of Dan Platt. Essentially, Dan was running the Austin Wingfield Chaos multi-faction madness. It's got Mortalion, 3 of the Disco Lords. Sort of that really high-octane chaos pressure list that we've been seeing out there a lot. Dan was having a lot of fun with it. Unfortunately, he ran into an immovable object, and he was a resistible force. So, outside of that, Mael here, he was playing Stephen Pamprine, a guy for whom I was openly rooting all day yesterday. Unfortunately, Pamps it was a really rough matchup because of the Harlequin concentration in Mael's list. A lot of -1s to hit. There's a lot of mortal wound damage. Stephen Pamprine was playing a freebooters shooting orc list with a lot of mech guns, flash gets, and essentially just wasn't able to churn through everything that was coming at him. Pamp said that if the game had gone on a long time, like say 12 turns or so, he would have had him tabled. That's the attitude you need to win in this game, but not in that game. Elsewhere, we have currently famous Canadian #1 in the ITC, Jim Vessel. He was playing Jason Sparks, old Sparksy. Sparks, of course, is playing 3 of the Repulsor Executioners, a whole detachment of Assassins, which is so much fun, as well as some Space Marine dudes, Gilliman, and went up against Jim Vessel's list. And in case you don't know what that is, that's a bunch of Plague Bearers, bunch of Demon Princes, the epitome, and it's just a really smite-filled party of chaos. It's been dominating the scene. #2 in the ITC, running a very similar list. So JV actually had a tough game. Apparently, towards the end, the Vindicares came on, killed a bunch of Jim Vessel's characters. Although he did wind up with a fairly good win, he ended the game with 16 models on the board. Much like the previous game, Jim Vessel just sort of clinging to life and grinding it out for the dub. Unfortunately, he's pretty low on points, so he may not be a threat to win this weekend, but there's still three games, so we'll see where it all winds up. Finally, let's see here. Oh, Josh Death. Josh Death playing on table 2 versus my personal hero now, Eric Marcoux. Both of them playing with some knights on the table. Josh Death has 2 of the Forge World Warglaves, which apparently you can find rules for on the Warhammer community website in the FAQ for knights. if you want to check out what the heck those things are. Essentially, he was playing Isaac, who's a Canadian, playing Drukhari, who had a lot of Venoms, Ravagers, and all that kind of stuff. The way Josh said it, Isaac needed a big turn 3, didn't get it. Josh was able to kill all the killy things that were left in Isaac's list, and that was the end of that. So Josh is on table 2 versus Eric Marcoux. There's some other names out there that I haven't really talked much about. And I think what I'll do is we'll kick it over to the cast right now, and then I'll catch you up on the top 10, who I haven't really referred to so far in this broadcast because, quite frankly, I don't like them. And when you're in broadcasting, you get to talk about your friends. So we're going to kick it over to 2 of my greatest Warhammer friends, which means they don't know my real name. Over to Rob and the Falcon.
Hello, welcome.
Welcome indeed. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is the Falcon, and I am the sexy koala of Warhammer. That's correct. My name's Rob. We're here at Capital City Bloodbath. I'm good, but I know for a fact you want to go straight to the game. Well, let's not even talk about us. Should we jump?
Let's jump right to the game.
Let's go
a lot
straight
of stuff
to the
has
game.
Already happened. We're about 6 minutes in, and it is already a fiasco. And
We're
that's
your live
excellent.
coverage team. We're your live coverage team, and we are going to be bringing you this hot game between these 2 players. That
I love it.
That is just a blank screen. There we go. Right. So there's 2 armies playing against each other. Eldari, played by, is this Mayo Chicken?
Yes, Mail Belcour is playing the Eldari kind of multi-faction list. It is primarily Craft World Eldar, but he does have both Drukhari and Harlequins in the list.
Oh, so specifically, he's an Eldari main, a Craftwell main.
He's
and
a
then
Craftwell main.
And then you've got a Drukhari main by a man that needs no introduction, but we will anyway.
No,
Scary of the
Archon
internet.
Scary, scared from the Scaredcast podcast.
Yeah, so scared right now.
He is. So and Scari's running like he always does, a pure quote unquote Drukhari list. Though he does have the Yvrain.
He does.
In the list.
He does. We will talk about the list in a minute and go into the minutiae. But the first turn's already kicked off, and importantly, the first turn roll off was won by Scary, and he gave the turn to Mail.
Yes. So in this game, it is a full army deploy for this mission. So yes, Scary won the roll for deployment. He chose to deploy first. But let his opponent go first.
Yeah, which means Mail's going first. So we will change to Mail being active on the sidebar there. So you should be able to see all the information, including secondaries that he's chosen, and also kill and hold more. There was a pretty impactful first turn though. There's a unit of Skyweavers right here that have moved forward, and we'll talk about them in a minute. There was also at deployment in this central area. There was 2 Death Jesters and Shadowseer, and there is the Solitaire over there as well, but I imagine he's moved away. We'll find out where he is in a moment.
So he's playing pretty aggressive. One thing we should note, as soon as the game started, Mael, I guess is how it's actually pronounced, chose to advance his Skyweavers up like this. As Rob said, he popped the stratagem that gives him +1 invulnerable save when he advances. Scary immediately vected that, and then Mal vected the vect.
A double vect.
The double vect.
The vexception.
9 CP immediately spent within 1 minute of the game starting.
No one rolled a 6.
No one rolled a 6.
No one rolled a 1.
So, and Scary did steal a command point, I guess, from it to go back up 1 of his. But still.
So he's in the good spot, which is a big deal. Also, hi, Nikos. Thanks for joining the knee stabbing gang.
Yes.
I appreciate that loads. Warhammer 4 Life, correct. So, I mean, that's a big start to the game, right?
Well, for sure. And this is going to be a pretty exciting game. It is a mirror that isn't a mirror. Both players running, a very similar Drukhari detachment mixed in, but at the same time, I don't know. Skyweavers versus Venoms, very interesting matchup. 2 Hemlock Wraith Fighters over there, a Void Raven Bomber. It is going to be quite the exciting game.
So I'm gonna slowly take us through the lists, and then we'll be able to try and identify on the tabletop exactly where they are for you guys. So we'll start off with Mail.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mael.
Belcour. Being in Canada with all of the French is hard. Our table boss, Max Dubois, big shout out to him.
Yes. He's always correcting us on our French
he keeps saying, no, it's Le Skyweaver.
Le Skyweaver.
Le Skyweaver, and
As he
also
says,
Le
yes.
Objectif.
Why?
So Le Scary is trying.
Le
Bonjour,
Scary is
bonsoir.
taking off his
He's
clothing.
very animated. We will get a shot on him sometime soon. But before that, Mayo, he's got a battalion detachment of Eldari, the Craft World, and they are a Laytok Witch which is a surprise.
What? Ally Talk, someone's actually running that
No way
faction?
at all.
What?
Farseer in that
This
list.
is my shocked face.
2 units of 3 Rangers, 2 Hemlock Wraith Fighters with Spirit Stones, and then the Drukhari detachment that you were talking about, Cabal of the Blackheart, which obviously allowed him to do the Vect that we were talking about. 2 Archons there, one with a Djinn Blade, 4 lots of 4 Cabalite Warriors, a Void Raven, and then 3 Venoms. And then what makes this different in this kind of odd mirror match here is the Harlequin detachment, which is Mayo has won my heart, and I'm rooting for him.
Yes.
I've chosen a side.
You've chosen a side because of the Harlequins?
I'm a huge Harlequin fan, huge fan. Love the narrative, love the lore, love the models, and love what they do in game. That Solitaire is a gangster. He's my one-man.
Oh, he's a wrecking crew.
It's all I care about. He's the best. So then he's got 2 Death Jesters, which are also great with the Solitaire. And then he has got Sky Weavers. He's got 6 of those. With they've got Zephyr Glaives and Star Bowlers.
Star Bowlers, yes.
The Zephyr Glaives are actually the Star Bowlers are actually useless because if you fire the Star Bowlers, you can't fire the Haywire cannons.
Yep.
So it's just a points reduction in taking them. And then the Haywire cannon shots. So that's
what's going to make the difference.
66 shots that on any 4+s to wound are going to cause a mortal wound.
Yes.
D3 mortal wounds.
I believe it's on a 6.
No, it's what? On a 6, it's D3 mortal wounds, yeah. And that's this unit here. Now they are going to be, oh, there we go. There's Scary right now and Mayo. Look at them, animated.
Yeah, right here, Scary.
Yeah, there he is. He can play up to the camera if he wants, but he's pretty famous. There we go. I like my Eeyore. Look at it. No, don't love Scary. No, I refuse. This is my guy. He's so beautiful, and also he's a bit of a joker. Oh, look at him. Because he's playing Harlequins.
Yeah, you say that, but I mean, Scary's a national hero. I know you're not Canadian, so you don't quite
which
understand
nation?
The Canadian nation.
Oh, are you a nation yet, or are you still a colony?
Hey. There was a whole World War II thing where we went out on our own. Deal with it. So let's move on. Let's see what Scary's running here.
Okay, no problem at all. So he is running, again, a Drukhari attachment with a Cabal of the Blackheart with an Archon, and then Yvrain. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we've got 3 lots of 3 Cabalite Warriors. You've got Lamian.
A Lamian.
Ooh. And there are 3 Ravagers, and there are 6 Venoms as dedicated transports. Now they match up with those, and the Skyweaver is going to be interesting. Their vehicles.
Yes.
So that's what the Haywire is going to do the damage to. Then you've got 2 Homunculi, which is nice because normally you see a Homunculi in Urian Rakarth.
Yeah, because he just adds so much generally to these lists. But Scary, I believe, is trying to save a little bit on points here for everything else he has in his army.
Because he has 3 units of Rax, and then he has got 3 Talos there, and then he has an Outrider detachment here with Reavers, 3 Reavers, another 3 Reavers, and then he's got.
I believe those are units of 4 because of the.
Thank you very much. 2 units of 4 characters, a Succubus, and then some Scourge.
Some Scourges. He loves Scourges. One thing about Scary, he refuses to run index options because he does play a lot of ETC style missions. So he won't run the special incubi that he believes actually perform the Scourge's job a little better. Yeah, loves his Scourges. Loves those Haywire Blasters and the Shard Carbines.
So where are they on that tabletop? That's what I'm going to try and find, and we'll go through these now. So obviously we joined it a little bit. We joined it just as the first turn happened and Mayo went forward. So the units that we. Oh no, I'm on the wrong cam. This unit is Skyweave. Oh, thank you, John. I'll get back to that. The unit of Skyweavers. Do you think they're going to be going after the Venoms, right, or the Ravagers?
I believe he's going to try to take them into the Ravagers as soon as possible because those Ravagers are going to do a lot of damage to the male's list if he doesn't.
So at deployment, I'm going to try and find it. Everything that Scary's got, there you go, you can see it, is hidden.
Yes.
There.
So the majority of Scary's list was in this corner. He did have to put his Venoms over here just due to spacing restrictions. And by the way, guys, look at this frickin' terrain. This is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you can really get the full magnitude of how awesome this terrain is.
We'll do some spinny camera shots in a minute. But yeah, again, that was provided by. I've got the card somewhere, and I'll tell you who made it. Yes,
613 Chaos.
No, it was someone else, but it's okay. But yeah, the terrain's been made by some local guys, and it's just fantastic.
It's absolutely gorgeous. It looks like some kind of volcanic Cult Mechanicus base. Just absolutely beautiful.
So all of the vehicles are hidden here. So this is why I assume he put this. He wanted to add the invulnerable save to the Skyweavers.
Oh, for sure. Because if he didn't, immediately they're dead next turn. If he doesn't kill the Ravagers here, those Skyweavers are just a bunch of mush. Just an absolute bunch. Now, for your guys' information, we are running Mission 5 from the ITC Handbook, which is What's Yours is Mine. There are 5 objective markers on the board. The way What's Yours is Mine works is there is one central objective, voila, that is put in the board.
We'll get a top down from John so we'll be able to talk about.
To start it all, and then each player gets to place 2 objectives, one in their own deployment and one in the opponent's. If you hold both your own, both of the objectives that you placed, you score a bonus point every turn.
Yes. So as you can see, the guys using these neoprene mats here. So here are where the objective markers are on the table. So they're exactly 6 inches wide. So you can always know how many bodies are on the objective and where they are. It's quite nice. It's not as good as an LED light, but I don't mind it.
No.
Does it ruin my immersion? I'm not sure. Let us know in the Twitch chat at home what you think. And also thanks for joining us. If you're watching us on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, appreciate it loads. We're taking comments in Twitch if you want to join us for the show.
Yes.
There we go. We've rattled through the start.
We have gotten through everything. We talked as fast as we could to try and keep up. It's going to be an adventure.
Though that is one tactically placed dice bag I'm hearing. I'm not exactly sure where. Oh, right here, just in case. I mean,
just in case you didn't know who's on the table.
Yeah, we're going to interview the man. He can just it's okay.
Yeah, there's no need. There's no need, Scary. He needs to keep his brand up, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Why has he not got an entire neoprene table that he plays on all the time?
Yeah, right.
That he lays down before he plays. Oh, hi, Chuckabutty, by the way. How many interviews does he need? He doesn't need enough, but he really wants them.
Oh, he does.
So if you could just love heart Scary, please.
I believe he also has a business card on the mat somewhere as well that he's hidden. Yes, right here, underneath the dice bag. So even if we do remove the dice bag on him, he put a business card right here, like a little wanker. But I love him. I love the man.
What's interesting is Warhammer is actually only his second career.
His second career.
His second career. His first career. Most people don't know this, but he's a surfboard waxer at a beach. That's his main job. Yeah, surfboard waxer, which is why he looks like that. He's just very thin and wiry because he can just rub a board harder than anyone you've ever seen.
That is about as sexual as I've ever heard a person's profession described.
We should call so. That's correct. Right, so let's look at some of the bully units that we're potentially going to see.
Yes, let's talk about these armies a little bit closer. Oh, look, they forced Scary to remove his dice bag, and it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. There was a business card.
Because the business card is there.
Strategic.
Scary, you're a
That's why he's so good at Warhammer. He's playing a move ahead.
Yeah, he's playing 4D chess here.
Yeah, he's got to push that paywall.
Yeah, he's got to push that paywall. You got it, boys.
You got it, boys, in the chat. Right.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these big old bully units. I'm not sure if Scrivo has had a chance to get us those beautiful cards. If he hasn't, that's perfectly fine.
We can talk about the secondaries if we're there yet.
Yeah, we can talk about
I'm not
secondaries.
sure if we are. The Scribs might be able to bring them up for us. So obviously, Mael's turn, as you can see. So these are his secondaries that he's chosen. So pick your poison, recon and behind enemy lines. This is what I'm here for, the jokes. Although weirdly, the Falcon is both the jokes and the knowledge. So I really am superfluous to this. But
I don't think that's true at all.
I'm going to ask you to explain to me why he's chosen these secondaries.
Well, I can tell you why he picked 2 of them.
Please do.
100%. So recon and behind enemy lines, they are definitely objectives that you want to pick if you are a fast-moving army or a resolute army with a lot of deep strike. Something like Custodes. Sometimes you'll see pick recon because they can deep strike around the board, get their 4 corners, and you're not going to kill them anytime soon, right? But when you're playing like a mixed Eldari or a Drukhari list with Venoms, Skyweaver jet bikes, you're everywhere, right? All he's flyers. He's up on the board all the time. Oh, that looks like a uterus. So let's... So
how many times have you drawn that?
The uterus?
You've seen that? Well, no, you've seen a topographical view of it.
Well, I mean, that's just something I do for a living.
I enjoyed the term topographical.
Thank you.
Let's move on from this.
So, recon behind enemy lines, perfect for his army because he's such a fast-moving machine. Those Skyweaver jet bikes, they're already taking up 2 sections of the board. He's got his guys still hiding in the back.
But yeah, so the mobility, the
mobility is what's there. The behind enemy lines, it's the exact same idea. He's going to be able to easily get 2 units into his opponent's deployment zone within a turn, and then it's just about if he can keep them there. If Scary can't, kill them all, he's going to just score those points.
And if you've never played ITC before, I very much doubt that's true of anyone. But if you haven't played it, effectively, both of these, or all three of these, can total and max out at 4 points. So effectively, they're very important to pick because what you're going to achieve potentially is a potential 12 points in order to win. And what's really interesting, John, if we can just go back to the main overlay, please. Not the main one, the red player. So you've also got every turn, you've got the ability to kill and hold an objective. And then you've got your bonus point, which is the mission we talked about here. So you can kill a unit and you get 1. And then you can potentially kill the most at the end of the battle round. You end up with 2 points, and then that's the same for hold. So you could potentially have 2 there. So there's lots to play for every round, but picking up these 12 points from secondaries, I was told yesterday by a very competent Warhammer streamer, that would be you, Falcon.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's the difference that's going to make. And seeing as we're on the top table of and round 3, potentially for the win at this tournament, as Skari as the reigning champion, picking those secondaries is quite important.
It is, and I don't know. I think Mal did make probably the right choice here. Picking secondaries against any Eldari faction is very hard to do. They don't give up a lot of secondary points.
Have I told you how much I hate Eldar yet?
Oh, no, you haven't, but I believe we have, maybe not on camera, but off for sure.
But fuck them.
Yes, I've also said that on stream, because, yes, they're fucking assholes. Not that we have any bias here whatsoever. We didn't talk about Pick Your Poison. Pick Your Poison's an interesting one. It's not one that gets selected often by anyone because it's a little complicated. The concept here is you have to pick 4 units on your opponent's board. Each one has to have a different keyword that you're selecting it for, and if you kill those units, you get the point. So Mail picked 2 of the Venoms. He picked the Ivrain, because Skari is running the Cat Lady, and he picked...
She's good, though.
One of the Talos unit. So if he kills those 4 models, he will get 4 points.
And that makes sense, right? Like, some of them seem like the Venoms or whatever, right? Like, he's just going to pick through them. But the Talos are going to be one of those bully units he's going to have to deal with anyway.
He has to deal with it anyway, yes.
He has to deal with it anyway, so that goes into the list. So it's a win-win sort of setup.
Yeah.
Like, if he does it, he's more than likely he's got the momentum on his side, so he's going to do well. And then also, if he does it, he gets those secondaries, which is good. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about it. Also, just a quick shout out to the Anvil of Wargaming. They've got a YouTube channel. Those are the guys that made the tabletop terrain that we're looking at now.
Well, we were lied to by Max yet again.
Yeah, and Anvil of Wargaming. But those guys got a YouTube channel. And also a question from Jacob Berry in the chat, and we are back. All of the terrain here is absolutely fantastic at the Capital City Bloodbath.
Oh, all of it.
We've been able to change terrain every round to what I would describe as display quality boarding.
Oh, 100%.
That's also functional.
Yeah.
And Canada, you are smashing it.
And we haven't had to search hard. Basically, we can just walk over to the next table beside us, grab that, and all of it looks gorgeous. It's absolutely a stellar event being put on by this CanHammer crew. I can't talk any more gorgeous things about them.
No, and the last time I saw terrain this good, Aceface, who's currently in the chat, was at his event when we covered the LCO at the beginning of the year.
Yes.
So that's the last time I saw a cut.
Good on you, Aceface.
Yeah, terrain this good and functional. So that's important. We're still talking about the list, and we're talking about the points. Pick Your Poison's already happened. I think potentially 2 of the Venoms have gone down, but we're going to find some information from the tabletop. Great work there, Scribs. That'll also mean that there's a kill. Okay, there's a kill unit that's happened. That's right, Twitch chat. Also, Twitch, thanks for joining us. Thank you loads for being here. Right. So I'm going to start talking about some of the bully units that you can see on the tabletop, because it's important, especially for the Pick Your Poison. Because the unit that we really have to talk about, I think, if you're looking at Skari's list, has to be those units of Talos. They've got Haywire Blasters, obviously, Macro Scalpels and Chain Flails, and they are normally the devastating part of the game. And then he's just got, I don't want to call it chaff, but those are the bully units for me, as I see them. And then you've also got thank you. There's a score update coming too. You've also got the Ravagers as well. But if you don't agree, then you can just let me know. But is it right that there's some information from the tabletop?
Yes, we just finished a male's turn 1. and he was able to kill both of the Venoms that he had picked for Pick Your Poison, as well as score 1 point for Recon. What should be noted is the Skyweavers, who killed the 2 Venoms, then went in for a charge. He failed the charge by 1 inch, went to re-roll one of the dice, and Skari vected that.
So which of the Venoms died here on the board?
It would have been 2 of the ones that were over here. So he had 5 Venoms right there. 2 of them were the ones that were selected for Pick Your Poison. They managed to get picked up by the Skyweaver jet bikes. He also picked up a few Racks and a couple of Kabalite Warriors. One of the Talos is also dead. So it was a really good shooting phase.
What Talos? There's a Talos of the 3 dead as well.
That is, yes, exactly.
Where are the Talos currently on the board?
That is a
are they
question.
In
I
this?
believe they're everything that. I believe
John,
there's only
can I
Venoms
just
here,
get our cam, please?
and everything else is in this kind of area right here.
Okay,
But we'll double check.
We'll go down there. Thank you very much. We'll go down there and show you where they are, because the top down's a little bit awkward. And also, that's the thing about 40k, right? Especially turn 1, 2, backboarding happens a lot.
Yes.
Which is why it's necessary for us to do this. So you can see everything's just racked in here, right? And the Talos, right there. Here's a squad of Talos just under Skari's face. And the Skyweavers was shooting into them. Is that correct?
They shot into the Talos, and they did shoot into the 2 Venoms that were behind them.
Right.
So the 2 Venoms were killed. One of the Talos was killed. Then as I was saying, Mail went in for the charge with the Skyweavers. He failed the charge by 1 inch, tried to roll one of the dice. Skari vected it, did roll a 6. So all those CPs were used as well.
So this is like almost all of his armies here, effectively.
Yes. Other than the Talos.
So if we can go back, we can go back to the top down now, John, and you'll see that we're going to start to see as we've gone into Skari's turn. So we can change the overlay to blue. You'll see that he's going to start. Do you think he's going to come out of this box, or is that not his plan?
It's hard to say. He really has to deal with the flyers that are over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if his Talos come up here to deal with the Skyweavers. Because they have the Haywire and they have all the attacks. They should be able to clean up a lot of that now that he doesn't have an invuln save on them. He may move...
they still have a 4-up. They just don't have the 3-up that he wanted.
He'll probably also move the Venoms into them. And then I would imagine the Ravagers will come this way to deal or try to deal with at least one of the flyers over here. That would be my guess, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, these flyers are going to be an issue, normally for other armies. But however, what's interesting about mirror matches is both Eldar armies have got the mobility on their side, very fast units, and also good range as well. So they're going to be able to project power wherever they want to go. Not forgetting that they want to try and pick up these bonus points here, and here, but I think that's probably unlikely early doors because there's so many other units that's going to be contesting. And then in a minute we'll start to look at Skari's secondary choices because he's chosen ground control, recon, and headhunter. Recon makes sense, we already talked about that. But ground control is going to be earn a point for each objective held at the end of the last battle round by the player. And he's got a lot of units. He's quite MSU.
Yes.
So he might be able to put a lot of units around there. And then headhunter, 1 point for each enemy character that is destroyed. And those Harlequin characters like a joke. And they like a good tale. But, they're not necessarily easy to get to normally, but neither player have particularly strong board control because they've got very small units that are going to be able to nip in and get characters.
Yeah, you say that, but Skari's list is actually essentially built for board control, which is why targeting those Venoms was actually a really good choice by Mail. Because one thing you'll notice if you watch Skari play a lot is what he will try to do is he will do this corner deployment to try to deny you as many kills as possible against most lists, and then you'll see all these Venoms immediately shoot out and take the board.
Which is exactly what we saw in the first game yesterday. John, if we could just get the top down. Thank you. What we saw in the first game yesterday, obviously, is someone put some characters here that they thought was safe, and the Orc player just flew forward and then just sniped them. And that's what I mean about these Eldar armies. They're super dangerous, but board control is not something they tend to do particularly well.
No, not against particular armies. You're right. Yes, yeah. And this I wouldn't call it a mirror because they are running very different armies. But these mirror Eldar, where they're all running extremely fast-moving units, the board control is much harder to accomplish, right? Because everything here has fly. They're all just zooming around each other. You're not blocking out anything. There's no deep striking occurring, so it's really about positioning now, less than board control. It's about how do I get the shot lanes with all this beautiful terrain that's blocking so much line of sight, and killing the stuff that's going to kill me, like these Skyweavers and these flyers in particular. That's what Skari's most worried about, so he's got to deal with them.
He does. Having been someone who's ran 18 Skyweavers before.
Yes.
Yeah, and ran them around. They are solid, but they do suck in combat.
They do.
They do absolutely suck. But those Haywires are decent, and their mobility is really good, and they've got all of the advantage. And they've got some really good options as well to shoot up against Skari's army. So definitely a threat. But surely it's the Talos for me that like is just going to start running rampant because those Talos are here, and I feel that they're going to go in. Maybe Skari looking for some cheeky Overwatch to deal with them.
Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
Because this is Mail looking for some Overwatch to deal with them. Because that right there, that's a lot of shots that can come out. But it's also that's also bait.
Yes.
Like
100%.
That's there.
Yes.
Like I don't think he wasn't making that first turn move to just like leave it.
No.
So.
This was his kind of an alpha strike. It was to come in here, do as much damage as he could, and hoping for the +1 invuln so that he may survive or may have a few of them survive that first round of shooting from Skari. Not getting it off. Well, actually, yes, getting it off because he had to waste the Vect. Really big deal for him because it does mean there's a chance that Skari has to put a lot more resources into them if he wants them to die. So now we're just kind of seeing Skari measure out, see where he can get his Ravagers, where he can get his Venoms. To try and get that board positioning that he wants.
Do you think they're all going to go into those Skyweavers?
I think at this point, now that we've seen some of the Ravagers move up this way rather than where I thought they'd go here, I think his whole goal at this point is to take out as many of those Skyweavers as he possibly can.
To be honest, I'm almost certain that that's what the Harlequins are just expecting. They like a good dance,
yes.
A song and a joke, and I feel like this might be bait for a trap because I don't think Mail's already on 3 wins. He's got here through skill and talent, and like if we do see these Skyweavers go down, do you think we're going to see some counter punching happen from any other units?
Well, I think you will see these Hemlocks in particular come up, drop their stupid, ridiculous flamers on whatever they can. Because that will rip apart some units. The Void Raven Bomber is going to be able to do work. Where he's positioned them, they can easily fly over into this corner if they have anywhere to land with their pivots and just do some pretty massive damage on the counter. Mail does have 3 Venoms that he can use, which he's, as you can see, he's kind of moved into the middle here to grab this objective and kept one over here. So he is definitely going for that objective control game right now.
Yeah, so, and again, I don't think I need to explain this to anyone, but you'll get points for every for killing unit, and both players are going to give away a unit point every turn, I would almost guarantee.
They're very aggressive lists.
Both of them, and they're also quite light. They're going to fall apart pretty quick. But there's also hold an objective and hold more per turn in this, and there's also holding your own, as said in the bonus point. So I think it's going to be a game of secondaries and hold.
Yes.
With kill just being what you do as a by-the-by to take it through. And Mail's starting salvo, he got 5 points on the board. Do you think that's good enough early doors?
Yes, I think that's actually quite amazing for a first turn. Scoring the 2 poison points right away. I'm not sure if Skari believed that he would be able to get at those Venoms because I noticed when he was deploying them, he tried to get them behind. I believe when the Talos were here, the Venoms were actually kind of hiding under this rock. But I don't think he accounted for the Flyers being able to get line of sight because I do believe it was the Flyers that got the shots off.
If we come back to my camera, John, we'll take everyone at home a little tour through the terrain, and you'll be able to see just how impactful it is in being able to block line of sight. It really is really quite high, and it's really well done. By these guys, the guys that produce it. So as you can see, that's the height there, blocking through, which is why Skari hid all of his units behind this wall here. It's pretty impressive and was able to block a lot of line of sight for those units. So some really functional terrain that looks really nice too, which is great. And also, if you guys want any close-ups or anything, let me go tell you that this is my... These Falcon, these are my gangsters. Let me tell you, these are my guys. Look at those they are.
Dudes.
2 Death Jesters and a Shadow Seer. Shadow Seer's own gun is absolutely great. I really rate that. A cheeky D3 mortal wounds as well. But that Shadow Seer's already got 2 wounds on it. I think that's what the 2 wound marker is. And I don't know where, and maybe Max Dubois might be able to point out where the cheeky Solitaire is on the board. And find out where he is, because he is somewhere hiding off screen. Perfect. I'm going to go find that guy because I don't think he's got any targets in the opposing army, but he definitely can do something quite well. There he is. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Sitting on the objective.
Okay, sweet. So there he is. The Iron Cure. Ooh, there he is. He's about to have a fight right there on the tabletop. I love this guy. Absolutely love him. Or her, but the Solitaire, fated to die. Fated to die, and absolutely remorseless in the fact that they're going to do it. And I think he's about to get whomped. Is that the technical term?
I believe the technical term is whomped. It does look he's got a few Reavers just hanging out in front of him saying hello. We'll see what actually happens there.
So yeah, he is gonna just smash face, I think. So we've looked at let's look at the second. Oh, we've done the secondaries for Scary. Yeah. So now we're just in the mix.
We are just in the mix.
We're just in the mix, waiting for those rounds to happen.
And it looks like Val, the master of disaster, Heffelfinger, is back with some more updates for us from our top 10. We're going to cut to him. When we get back, we'll give you some more updates on what's been happening in the turn. There's been a lot of sly movement going on. We're moving into shooting. When we get back, we'll tell you exactly how it all worked out for Scary, and we'll move on into round 2.
The Val. Let's go.
Thank you very much, guys. Val Heffelfinger on the scene, bringing you all the news from tableside here at Capital City Bloodbath 2019. Right now, about most of the top 10 or the top 5 tables are wrapping up their first turn, so I thought I'd give a little bit of an update. On the actual table 1, we have Eric Marcoux versus Josh Death. Eric looks like he's in a really strong position. He opened up with a bit of a lead, took out Josh's knight that's on the table. So Eric Marcoux, to remind you, is playing Triple Crusaders with an Emperor's Wrath Artillery Brigade. It's a lot of firepower, and table 2, pretty sparse on the terrain. Josh Death, on the other hand, he's got an AdMech battalion going on. He's got 2 of the Forge World Warglaves with the big, weird grabbing claws. Used to have a knight. And a bunch of intercessors. But a lot of that stuff standing out in the open, staring at some basilisk. And there are 3 really upset Crusader Knights on Eric's side of the table. So Josh doesn't have a very positive attitude about his outlook. I hope he keeps his chin up. But could be a quick one over on table 2. Meanwhile, we've got someone who I have not wanted to talk about. Fudge. I said fudge. That's right. This is a clean cast, guys. Diogo Pita, an acronym in his last name for pain in the ass, playing with the Team Happy colors today and looking quite happy for Diogo, which for anyone else is fairly dour and upset looking. He's playing with pretty much maximum Eldari flyers. Lots of planes on the table. It looks kind of hilarious. So he's playing Gene Stealer Cult, Dustin Henshaw. Dustin's got a couple battalions of GSC, looks like off the table, but he's got one with the Brood Brothers and some tank commander type dudes. They were on the table. He lost 1 tank, turn 1, which when you look at, I don't know if this is going to work. This is really ghetto. Can you read that? Can you see, does that play on the screen? Yeah, okay, so you can see a line of flyers there. So Diogo went first and just tried to zone out as much of the board as humanly possible. I'm surprised he only killed 1 tank, to be honest. They're kind of hiding out in some ruins. But, so that's where it is. Anyone's game in that one. Then we're going to Tory Pete, who betrayed Cash Money Hammer, my team, to play for CanHammer today. Knocked out one of my favorite players, Alex Stewart, in round 1. Who used to be a teammate of his. What a jerk. He's kind of in a mirror. So he's got Drukhari, got a couple planes, lots of Talos, and he's going into something very similar, except very grotesque Talos-heavy Drukhari list being piloted by Jerome. Tori did take 4 points on primary, 4 points on secondary in turn 1. Looked like he got a better alpha strike type thing going off. So maybe Tory Pete keeps the dream alive, a dream held only by him, a nightmare for the rest of us. Next we have Jim Vessel, looking pretty sprightly for day 2. Normally, he might be under a table at this point, essentially rolling dice with a hook shot onto the tabletop because he's so messed up. But he looks good. He's on his feet, made eye contact with me. I'd say the champ is as good as it gets for day 2 at a Warhammer Grand Tournament. He's playing against Tau. Unfortunately, I didn't write the name down. I'm so sorry to his opponent. I'll make sure to update that later. But essentially, you got a big brick of chaos. Jim Vessel's very famous. Plague Bears and Demon Prince, an epitome swirling melee coming at a big gun line of Tau. This is something I'm sure Jim is very familiar with, and he's going to start doing his best to pick apart that castle. Now also we have Jeff Pandierda. I'm going to have to learn how to say his name. Just basically at a turn 1, he's playing Gene Stealer Cult again versus a Tau list. The Tau list is heavy with what look like hammerheads. So not a great choice as far as Tau is concerned to be going against GSC with. They've all like turtled up in a corner, just ceded the entire board to the GSC. We'll see how that one plays out for him. And then finally, we've got Eric Truck, a.k.a. Eric Scrivens. He's playing with Custodes, Mono Custodes, the Forge World, apparently not Alaris. Unfortunately, I haven't learned the name of that silly unit. But he's got no Caladius tanks, and he is still undefeated out there. He is currently working out his angst against what looks to be a pretty heavy Space Marines list. He's got most of his stuff in Deep Strike. That's worked really well for him so far in this tournament. We'll see if he pulls out the sort of mid-game antics that have done so well for him so far. His entire army right now is just sitting in 1 ruin, and the other half roughly sitting in reserves. Of course, on the main table, which we're about to get back to, we've got Ma'el versus Skari, the Titans of the tabletop. I haven't been able to actually pay any attention to this game, but I know 2 guys who have. That's right, Falcon and Robert Symes, the first and only. Over to those guys.
I love listening to him talk. I also liked his appearance in the film The Blues Brothers.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, he was just excellent. He just I'm on a mission from GAT. Look, welcome back to Capital City Bloodbath. My name's Rob, and I'm joined by the Falcon.
Kaka!
And we are doing some coverage of Mail, as Val so excellently said, versus Skari. So you've got 2 Ardari mix armies, but you've got a more Craft World heavy with some cheeky Harlequins mixed in for Mael.
Exactly, and a little bit of that Drukhari himself, but not too much. About 500 points of each with a good 800 or 900 points of Craft Worlds handling the heavy lifting for him.
Absolutely, and then Skari of the internet has got a big Drukhari list with some cheeky inclusion of some Craft World elements.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a nice
one in particular Inari element that he took, the Ivrain, which you can now take and not break monofaction rules per the new Inari rules if you just take one of the characters.
Which is so nice that they did that in a White Dwarf.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that they decided not to allow you to get it in any other way, but through a monthly subscription.
Yeah, that seems absolutely fine. That's like all of the paywalls in 40k. So anyway, and that's why the 40k stat show is one of my favorite shows, because it's completely free to listen to.
Well, thank you, and as is the Honest Wargamer for me, because I don't have to pay you any money unless I really, really want to.
I wouldn't. We'll just waste it on Timbits and hookers.
Well, Timbits are for one particular man that's standing just above me right now, because he's gone through about 15 already to everyone else's 1. Jon, Max Dubois. We're going to have a Timbit counter for you as soon as we can.
Yeah, he lives on Timbits.
Yeah.
So, we've already had the first turn happen for Mayo, where he took a unit of. So you had Skari deploy
a currently
all of his
invisible unit, by the way.
Yeah, a unit deployed all of his army basically behind this piece of line sight blocking terrain here. Then Mayo taking the first turn, what he ended up doing was taking a unit of Skyweaver Jeff Bikes from the Harlequins, moving them here, shooting, taking out a Talos, which is pretty big. There's a unit 3, and they're a big bully unit.
You got it. He also put. Now here, and we'll talk about it a little more in detail. So he did kill a Talos. He put a number of wounds on some Ravagers over here that we had missed. He put 7 wounds on one of the Ravagers. He put 3 or 4 on another. I think the problem here is he did a little bit of split firing.
It's just like life. You just have to commit to a place that you want to do a thing.
Exactly.
That's what I've always said.
And then one other thing, Skari did have 2 Venoms that were for pick your poison that he hid behind these rocks beside the Talos. And what we're now learning as we move into the end of this turn 1 was that Skari really played those as bait. This was a big trick.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what did the Talos as bait?
No, these 2 Venoms. Because as soon as he got picked for pick your poison, he puts them out here. We thought he was doing that because he thought they'd be hidden. In retrospect, he really was trying to force these flyers this way. This was all intentional.
Nice.
Because now the flyers aren't over here. And what this allowed, because one thing I said, those Skyweavers are invisible now. It's not that they're invisible, folks. They're fucking gone.
They're gone. They are gone.
Yes. So
wow.
Skari lit those mother truckers up. He hit them with everything in his lists, and not enough 3-up invulns were made by Mail. Mail was able to shoot on death with them with the 4+, but he didn't do a whole lot of damage in return. Not a lot. Skari was also able to plink off about 4 wounds off of the Solitaire here, so he's down to 2.
Yeah, so and something happened there, but I have a question for you, realistically.
Yes.
So let's say Mail had decided to bring the flyers instead of where they were to here, and the Skyweavers were still there. What's the difference in having them here to having them there? Now, obviously, there's ranges, but flyers are basically infinite range.
Remember the Hemlock from a shooting perspective, the Hemlocks have super flamers, right?
Yeah.
So if he had instead popped them over here, which is what Skari didn't want, now they're flaming into the Talos, removing them. Or they're flaming into the front of the Venoms over here.
I see. So what you're saying is what he should have done, because the Venoms basically got no output. That's not what they're there for. Yeah. So he should have brought the Flamers here and actually dealt with the units that are going to do the output, the bully units.
Do the damage. Yes.
Do the damage, but instead he sent his bully flyers after chaff.
Yeah, to get points.
And points are important. They'll win you the game.
Super important, but he can get those points later.
So it's like a 2-point trap for a late game play. Whoa!
And
That's
it really worked
Warhammer,
out.
gentlemen.
It really worked out.
That's
because
fun.
now and this is a game that might end very quick, guys. All of Mail's characters are in close combat. They're right here.
Yes.
And now they've been tagged by a couple of Archons. They've been tagged by some Reavers are up there, some Scourges.
Oh, we can go.
I'll get you let's get a close
down.
up to see exactly what. But I know a couple characters have already been picked up.
And I'll go take that through to you. Absolutely. So over here in this corner, there you go. So there's in Mail's list there's 2 Death Jesters, which you can see right here.
Yes.
And then there's also is this the no this is the Shadow Seer.
That's
here.
the Shadow Seer who's taken a few wounds.
There's the Farseer here.
Yes, and then there was a Farseer on bike that has been removed.
And has been removed. And then there was my guy, my hero, and Max Dubois delighted in telling me, oh, he's still alive.
He's still alive. He's got 2
there
wounds
he
on
is.
him up in
The
that corner.
Solitaire. Yeah, he is a hardener. He is just I don't
yes.
That doesn't make any sense, but I just love him. Because he's just everything that you've ever wanted in a single tiny 25mm model. He's ballsy, he's brave, he's powerful, he's fated for death. He's kind of the I don't know how to describe him. I don't know. I just love him. He's just brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's an absolute beautiful model, beautiful man.
And the model's fine. The model's fine. The narrative it sets for me, though.
Yes.
Yeah, this creature that's just and his in-game rules, like we were talking about with Gene Stealer Colts, his in-game rules do something very similar. They just he represents this kind of like insane acrobatic murder kill bot.
Yes. Oh, and I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, they're still alive, and we also saw the D3 mortal wounds that happened here from the stratagem. We talked about that. No,
a little bit. So there were some number of wounds. One thing we didn't mention was Skari had tried to take out those Psychers earlier with a Crucible of Malediction from his Homunculus. He actually rushed a Homunculus into this area, in which there was the Farseer Skyrunner, and I believe a Warlock. and popped Crucible of Malediction. Mail used his last command points to Vect that, and did roll the 6, so Skari did have to use those command points. So Mail should be down to 0 CP at this point.
Yeah, so we'll get an update on the overlay. So Mail's down to 0 CP, and we're now into Mail's turn. Am I right in thinking that?
I believe we are now moving into Mail's turn. So let's get an update on the score. Skari was able to score hold more, kill, and he got the bonus point.
Right. Okay. So he did, and the bonus point is, I mean, this is one of the easier ones to achieve of all that we've seen so far out of the missions, because you only have to hold 3 of the 6. This one and...
Oh, sorry, he did not score the bonus point. That's just how the thing was written on the sheet. My bad, guys. Okay. I apologize. But yes, you have to hold both the objective you placed and another one. What Skari needs to do is, I believe, hold this objective and this one. Is that the idea here?
Yeah,
he used his own Skari objectives for that.
He's got his own mats.
This guy brings his own.
This guy, he's got a business card here. He's got some mats here, and he's got charm and grace everywhere else.
So Skari was also able to score a point for recon, and he scored a point for headhunter for killing the Fireseer Skyrunner that was in the middle there.
Wow. Okay, so we'll get that score updated for what his. So his total is more than 5, right?
I believe it is 5.
It's 5. Okay, so
3 and 2.
So, but both big scoring first rounds from, which makes sense, right? Both armies incredibly mobile and able to achieve those.
Exactly.
Where it's going to fall apart is going to be late game, and the Skyweavers going that early.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Mail really would have liked to keep those Skyweavers for another turn, especially giving them that 3-up invuln, managing to Vect off. He wanted at least a couple to survive so that he could use them to kind of tag around the board after they did their damage.
But what did they? I mean, I don't know. For me personally, it didn't seem like a trade that was.
I don't think it was worth the trade either. But I don't think he thought it was going to be a trade. I believe he really felt that either Skari would have to put way more resources into them than he ended up having to finish them off, or he would have 2 or 3 remaining, and then he could just jet off and start using them to grab objectives instead.
Oh, and not to second guess Mail, but I played with those jetbacks quite a bit.
Yeah.
They will fall down in a stiff breeze.
Yes, I'm quite sure. Even with a 3+ invulnerable, especially against a pure Drukhari like this that has just so much DACA coming out from those Venoms, from the Ravagers, even from the Archon Skari himself. Which, I mean, if you've ever watched Skari play, he does actually pump up his Warlord whenever he's about to do anything.
Oh, so he motivates him emotionally.
Yeah, before he rolls dice, he'll be like, "You can do this, my lord. You can do this." It's really weird. Skari's a very interesting individual, but everyone loves him anyway.
No one would say emotionally disconnected, but
yeah, maybe a little bit off. Maybe a couple cards short of the full deck, but he is emotionally connected to his Warlord. Yes, thank you, Max, for informing me about that.
Really emotionally connected.
Yep.
Okay. Everyone in the Twitch chat, thanks for being here, by the way. I just want to shout out you guys again. Let us know who you're rooting for if you want any close-ups on any of the units. So what does Mail do in his turn to pull this turn back?
Well, Mail is going to have to start doing some damage for sure. Right now, he's got to think about his positioning on his Venoms. That Solitaire is going to have to do some work. As you can see, he's kind of moving him up now. To try and deal with these Reavers and Skari's characters that he has in here, the ones that help to clear out all of those Skyrunners. And then I think the big thing is going to be, what do these flyers do? Where does he put them? And we're about to find out.
So, yeah, I think, maybe he's going to put this in this gap that his dead unit left him, which is
exactly.
quite fortuitous.
And that's kind of like, that's where he's looking. I mean, it does look like Skari's helping him out, work out on the positioning and the pivot. To make sure that there's no shenanigans, and also, just be a good guy. Because, guys, when you're playing a game of Warhammer, especially with a big table with tons of terrain like this, it's always nice to help your opponent talk things through, because then there's no issues with intent, no issues with people saying things are bad. And, Skari even managed to balance it on top of the most ridiculous rock. I'm sure there are
pure skills. We'll get the...
I'm sure there are Warhammer fans out there that are absolutely furious that is something you can even do.
John will get us the top down so I can show you how... is it moved off?
No, I believe they decided just for wobbly model purposes.
No one wants to have it wobble off.
So they placed it to make sure it could be placed. Once it was able to be placed, they took it down because it is a well-painted flyer. I'm not going to say it's eBay Pro painted, but it's a good quality. He doesn't want to lose it.
I just want to absolutely mirror the feeling that Ty Winning has in the chat that an Eldar and Eldar war is the only war I ever want to see. I want as many of both sides to die as possible.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're absolutely terrible creatures. I don't know why their ears are the way they are. They've ruined all of
Sickly,
society.
Kind of a
They
sickly
created
pale
the
colour.
weirdest god.
Yeah, they're super odd. Yeah,
Most
they
of the-
have made the weirdest god.
Yeah, most of their players are just, in general, have odd social lives. I
And
mean,
also,
I don't know.
if you ever accidentally left like a banana in your bag for like a long while or something, that's a bit like what their spirit stones are. They're like just awkwardly collecting the souls of people.
Yeah,
like,
awkwardly collected bananas.
they're just a collection of odd bananas, and now they've created a god of dead bananas.
The dead banana god. I like it. I like it.
The Incarn, absolutely. So.
I think that Rograx feels personally attacked, and that's personally okay with me.
As an Eldar player,
if you are an Eldar player,
so fine.
Yeah.
And also, Tom, you're great. Also, Lojax, thanks for subscribing. Thanks to anyone who subscribed to support the show. It really means a lot to us. It helps us do events like this, which is really fun. John, I reckon we should check the players out for a second. If you've got
let's take a look, because they're running around. They're having a good time, by the way, guys. You can't really see their faces all the time, but these two are laughing it up. They're super good competitors. They're talking each other through their turns. Mail is constantly throwing his
can I
hands
also
in
talk
the
about the
air.
speed of the when we want to watch the tabletop during the break while Val was talking, the speed at which both players are playing. Now there is a chess clock to the side.
Yes.
They're both absolutely comfortable, but it was just super quick, like really fast, but also really engaging. So they were
both these guys know what they're doing. This isn't like every placement is done with purpose. But also like efficiently. There's no real shenanigans. There's no trying to figure out where things are. They're just really good guys. I mean, they've already played through one full turn. Each player took, I believe, only 10 minutes, and that's for the first turn, which is usually where you're going to see the
I tell you what,
longest
I'm enjoying the
event
commentating because of the pace as well.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, it makes me talk extra fast. I've had to have a second coffee.
Also, if anyone wants the list, you can just type !list, and the Falcon's been good enough to host it on the 40kstats.com, where you'll be able to see those lists, which will be fine. Or if you're French Canadian, le lists.
Le lists. Wait, white.
Yeah.
En ban.
I think I've the list. I've been Max Dubois, our table boss, has been helping me.
Yep.
Learn French.
He's made us both bilingual within seconds.
Yeah,
Fully bilingual.
I could do this entire stream in French. I'm just choosing not to at this stage.
La meta, oui.
Yeah, bonbon la poupe. This is correct. That is a good question, actually. How do both of these armies? Oh, we got the stats.
Yeah, I believe Scrivo does have the stats ready for us.
We can find out how both of these two armies will do in La Meta.
So this is very interesting, actually. Once we get these up, oh man, that wipe, I love it. Just
there you
like
go, Star Wipe. So you've got Eldari versus Drukhari in the kind of a faction. If you go on the 40kstats.com, which the Falcon runs, you'll be able to see how these armies play up against each other in ITC format tournaments.
Well, any format tournament, as long as I get the data. I will actually pull it for any of them.
Okay, cool.
So you can on the website filter those to see how they perform in ETC, ITC. If you're into some of the other formats like Nova or Renegade, I try to break them all down so it can be as specific as you want it to be.
You like a breakdown, that's what I've heard.
I love a breakdown.
That's right.
So good. But let's get right into the numbers, because this is the stuff I get most excited about.
So as you can see here, monoliths is how many times we see these armies or these factions as monoliths. I think since the spring FAQ,
exactly,
in any ITC format events.
Yes, and the reason why that's important is because it was around the spring FAQ that the ITC made the decision to, and it was just slightly before, but it doesn't matter. Decided to make the decision to move to best in faction, being you have to have a pure or a mono faction list entirely to get that best in faction points, and that completely changed the structure of lists that we were seeing.
The American crew just making sure we segregate the factions as much as possible.
Exactly, that's all they want. They don't really like allies, as you know. They are very patriotic. They will one love and one love only, and that is
to everyone all around the world.
So in the faction versus faction sets, you can see Drukhari have a high percentage of mono faction lists. In fact, they are one of the most populous mono faction armies outside of Dark Angels. Unfortunately, Dark Angels players are universally terrible,
and also traitors.
Yeah, and also traitors. So
that's very important.
We won't ever talk about them, and you won't see them on the top table.
It's been awkward doing the commentary with you because we both agree so heavily on some of these elements.
Oh, I know. I would really wish that we had anything that we disagreed on, but it's almost impossible.
However, the numbers you're seeing below are the primary and secondary detachment numbers that you're seeing here at CCBB.
Exactly. So you can see Drukhari are extremely popular, and that's very common in the Canadian meta. If you look at only Canadian events, Drukhari generally make up about 10% of lists, or slightly around that.
It's quite high.
It is extremely high, especially when compared to worldwide. So you can see right now.
Max.
Oh, Max.
Thanks for joining Patreon for $10. You can support, obviously, this live stream and Honest Wargamer if you do join Patreon. I wasn't trying to tout it out, but also Max, which is actually what my mum is called. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
So, Drukhari do have 8 primary detachments here. They have 14 secondary, and they show up in 10 lists. Whereas Eldari, and in this case for the Eldari, because Mail decided to use a mostly Craft World Eldar list, we're going with the Craft World percentages here. So Craft Worlds, 50% of Craft World lists post FAQ have been pure Craft World. They still love their allies. 4 of them primary here at CCBB, 6 secondary, and they're in 6 lists. And then lastly, we have our overall win percentages. You can see it's pretty tight. Drukhari have about a 53% win percentage. Eldari have a 52.2 ampersand.
But that's nice, right? That still fits in that very nice daisy chain area between 45 and 55.
Yeah. So my big thing, and I tell a lot of people, is generally 47 to 53. That's where you're kind of you're probably in a very balanced meta. So with both of them kind of being in that top end, they're very powerful lists. They do perform extremely well, but they're not like overpowered. I would say you have ways to defeat them. The Eldar flyer list that a lot of people talk about, that is the boogeyman. It has a lot of very bad matchups. It causes a lot of feel bads. We're not seeing that on the table here today. It's very excellent. And lastly, we have our verses, which we'll go over very quickly, and that is that Drukhari generally have the advantage in these matchups, 53 to 47%.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for that fluent and powerful introduction to the information. So that would mean that the Drukhari, so effectively Skari, got, am I right? This is going to be a bit backwards, but 7% kind of like bracket of a win percentage. So,
yes.
So we're picking them as the statistical favorite to win.
Yes, Skari does have like the statistics behind him. And thank you so much, Knight, for saying that my favorite position is percentiles, quartiles, and standard scores. You're 100% correct. You can talk to my wife about it. She loves all of them.
So jumping back,
Missionary's a little too boring for me.
Jumping back to the game, we're still in Mail's turn, who was doing his shooting phase. We'll get a recap on what we saw shot in the shooting phase. As you can see, he has no CP as he entered this turn, and they're both currently on 5. On the score of 5. So we'll see. Did you happen to hear from the tabletop what got shot during that turn?
I have not yet. Well, yes. So we, like we said earlier, Mail lost the. Mail had lost on his turn. Mail had lost his Skyweaver jet bikes, and he lost a Farseer Skyrunner. So he lost 2 units as well. That's why neither person got kill more last turn. This turn, what we missed while we were talking up stats, which are way more important in this game anyway, is
agreed.
Is we had units of Rangers drop, I believe, if we can get a little closer to double check, here, and here, on top of 3 of the large ruins. We had the Rangers drop. It may have been up there.
It's okay. I'll go fight. I'll go hunt them down. We also saw the Flyers move here and here.
Yes.
And then we saw one move over. Let's go find these. Oh, we're
gonna go find. Well, we're gonna do our best. But either way, while we're talking, Mail did manage to kill one of the units of Rax, finishing it off. And his psychic phase absolutely failed him. He did not make a single psychic test this turn. Absolutely none of them went through. Shadow Seer decided he was going to take a day off. Went for a little break. It was absolutely terrible. He's having a smoke in the back now. Thinking about his next dance routine.
What is his dance routine going to be? I'm very interested in that. You've made me very entertained in what... Oh, no.
So right now, Mail has moved over to the back corner, which we'll talk about in just a second, and he's trying to take out the Reavers and the Warlord, the Archon Skari himself.
There we go. So this is where the Flyers ended up and get you kind of a minutiae of the battlefield.
Exactly.
A little bit.
So he's got one Hemlock right here, and he's got his Void Raven Bomber here. His Void Raven Bomber flew over, dropped some bombs on this unit, and now he's just trying to clean up this area to basically give himself some protection for his characters in the corner over here.
Which makes sense, because he had them all clustered. He's got the Death Jesters here, up here, who's still alive, so they're going to be able to do some shooting in. I wonder what they're going to shoot at. It's interesting.
All of the Reavers have been killed, I'm told.
All of the Reavers have been killed?
Yes.
Wow, they've just fallen apart, realistically.
Well, Reavers, I believe they only have, a 4-up armor save, and that's really about it that they can use. So I mean, they're about as... If you're used to playing Custodians like I am, it's essentially papier-mâché that you're dealing with.
Yeah, you've also got the Ravagers here. They're still a threat, right?
They're still 100% a threat. And now I do know one of them is on its bottom profile. So that may be, depending on how much protection Mail have to pull in, we're either going to see him shoot into the Talos or into the Ravagers. My guess is he's going to go into the Talos just because those Talos are such a threat to just come in here and eat all of Mail's remaining characters.
And it's also part of his secondary pick your poison as well.
Exactly. So it's very important for him in a number of ways. It's going to be really important that he deals with these Talos. The Ravagers are going to be a concern for him no matter what. However, he can make that bottom profile one hit on 5s, even 6s. So that one's less of a concern than the other two. Scary also very well known to roll hot, though. He's kind of like the Manny Chima of Canada. If you've ever played against Manny Chima, the man only rolls 6s.
I mean, that is the way you win tournaments, realistically.
It is.
To quote our Age of Sigmar show host, Speckles, he says he designs Army lists only to roll 6s.
Yeah.
I feel that's a poor decision in Army list building, but we disagree on most things.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you disagree with somebody. It seems like you're generally an amenable fellow that has never had an argument with a single soul in his life.
No one that has described me as an amenable fellow ever. Everyone who's listening to Twitch chat's like, who the fuck have you been talking to?
Well, you don't understand. Once Rob's in Canada, he's become a completely changed person. He's met
I tell you what, you
super
guys,
polite fellows.
Listen, I act as I'm treated, and you guys have been a brilliant, and specifically in the chat there, CanHammer TV. So Darren, the organizer of CCBB, but also the guy that's been helping us out all weekend and showing us around. Listen, he's one of the nicest people, also with just a hilarious set of stories, much like the Falcon sat next to me, and Val Heffelfinger. I've just been inundated by talented, excellent men. Can't wait to hear the stories of Mac Dubois gallivanting around the world.
Exploits, I don't think you want... It's mostly just violence and prostitution, as far as I understand. On penicillin or Timbits. Hard to say. So it looks like the Void Raven bomber went into the Ravagers and picked up the one that was almost down. So one Ravager has been pulled from the board.
Of the 3. There were 3 initially.
Oh, there were 3 initially. So one, I believe, has been pulled. The Hemlock Wraith Fighters, the one that was here, did go into the Talos, like we said. I don't know if any wounds were performed. We'll hopefully get something from the pit boss there, or maybe get a close-up to see if there's any dice on the 2 remaining.
Yeah, I could do that. Give me the power, Scribs, and I'll go zoom in, and we'll go see what the scores are there.
I believe we've already moved on to the close combat phase, so we're going to see what he puts into them, if the Solitaire or something's going to run in there.
So he's moved towards the Talos. So there you go. You've got the Solitaire there who's decided to womp in and go do the work. Oh, camera is having an issue. Is this a Solitaire? Oh, no, Solitaire was over there originally.
Yeah,
so
he did move him, but I don't think that is the... who is that? Who's that sexy fellow?
Who has charged into Max Dubois? Could we just find out who's charged into the Talos, please?
Yeah, what hit those Talos? What hit those boys?
There's 2 characters that have gone in, and I'd like to see who and what they are. Because they're going to go and do some punching.
I'm sure someone in the Twitch chat's losing their mind right now. Like, it's a friggin'... I don't know. Homunculus, what is wrong with you? It obviously can't be. He didn't bring any guys. Come on, calm down.
And Rograk's in the chat just pointing out, yes, obviously this is one of several top tables that are currently occurring.
Yes.
Anyone that thinks that a bracket, so the people that are all on 3 wins right now, isn't the top table and a singular point in it, is just flat wrong. I do event coverage all the time, and it's only until I get into turns 5 and 6 that I even care who's remotely close to winning.
And really, to be fair, at this point, the way the game is playing out, there's going to be 1, maybe 2 people that are undefeated based on draws. So anybody here that's 3-0 has an ultimate chance of winning the entire thing.
Okay, so Solitaire
ran into
my guy
Yvraine.
Ran into Yvraine, and do you know what happened to Yvraine? So that was back here. Do you know what happened?
Oh, I don't see Yvraine.
Dead. That's right. Yeah, her soul is going straight to Slanesh.
Oh, not again.
Straight to Slanesh.
Not again.
Yeah, and these are 2 Archons, 2 gangster Archons, straight in. They don't care about those Talos.
So I believe if he killed the Yvraine, that's another point for him for Pick Your Poison, as Yvraine was the character that he chose for the Pick Your Poison keywords. Yep. So that's really good for Mail. It gives him another victory point. It also deals with Skari's only Psyker in the list, because Drukhari are not. We're very well known for their psychic capabilities. In fact, they completely eschew them just in case they get sucked into the chaotic void that is Slaaneish's sexy, sexy vagina mouth.
What do you reckon? 2 Archons versus one of the Archons has actually got a special weapon, I think, although that might be
I believe the Jin Blade is on one of the Archons for
It
male.
is. You are absolutely correct. Let me just go find it. There it is, the Jin Blade. I would like to know what the Jin Blade does, but I haven't remembered every artifact and relic from 40k.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't Warhammer Fantasy Battle 10 years ago when I knew exactly everything that everything did. Let us take
Anyone got any Jin Blade knowledge?
The Googles or at the chat. If any of you want to say what
Also,
exactly what the heck
thank
is
you to
happening,
Stream Mod
let us know.
Tom for letting you guys have a link to find out the actual bracket for this round as is, and then we got more Warhammer coming later today. We've got 2 more rounds. Someone's going to win Capital City Bloodbath. I think why it's important that we're showing Scary. He's currently the reigning champion, hot favourite to win the event, so he won't be on the stream next. Even if he does win this, we'll have another one of the matchups.
Exactly. We'll have another one of the top, basically the top 5 or 5
But
to
going
10
into
tables.
a gossip-laden, heavy feeling and exciting finale in round 6. 6 games, you lucky devils.
6 games. So it does sound like one of the Archons was picked up by a male, the one that had the Shadow Field. Scary has lost one of his 2 Archons, as well as the Avrain in this round of close combat. I don't believe any of the Talos were picked up in the end, despite the shooting that was put into them. So they're still healthy and getting ready to go do some eatins. We're going to get an update here for the top of turn 2.
So yeah, you're right. Like earlier on, as we talked about these flyers, had they not come here for the Venoms and they'd gone over and started dealing with the Talos, those Talos now are just running rampant.
They're going to be, for sure. So we still have 2 Talos in this general area. They're probably going to try to mop up those characters that Mail sent in to deal with Scari's character bomb. We'll have to see what happens. We're just Scari's moved into his movement phase. We're about to get a score sheet right now to see exactly how everything played out for Mail. We've got it right here. So Mail, so far at least,
this is by the way the top of round 2. Sorry,
we're moving into the bottom of round 2. Yes,
Yeah.
but it was the top. So Mail did score his 2nd point of recon. He did score his 1st point of behind enemy lines. He did get his 3rd pick your poison point, and so far he does have 1 kill, at least 1 kill and 1 hold. We're going to wait to see if he gets any kill more or hold more, as Scary does.
Which I think Sky's going to kill more and hold more.
I believe that we will definitely see Scary hold. I think Scary will hold more for sure. I don't know if he'll get kill more because Mail did apparently get 5 kill points this turn.
Wow, okay.
Picking up Ivrain, picking up an Archon, picking up one of the Ravagers. I'm not sure what his other 2 points were. We'll get possibly a couple of Venoms or the Rack. No, sorry, it was the Racks that he picked up.
So potentially, yeah, you're right. He won't
Scary,
get that.
If Scary wants to get to either match kill or kill more, he's going to have to go on an absolute murder frenzy.
Yes, he is going to have to go on a murder frenzy. And is he going to be able to pick them up? So the planes are obviously the threats, right? So these vehicles, see these planes here.
Yes.
Like taking them out is something that...
Those are definitive threats that are on the board.
And arguably some of the only definitive threats that are left on the board.
And we also have to remember, Scary is trying to get Headhunter. Most of Mail's characters have been wounded. The Solitaire is on 2 wounds. I believe the Shadowseer is also down to 2 wounds. So those are easy kill pickups for him. The Death Jesters, I believe, are at full, but they're kind of hiding.
So I'll be honest. Looking at Mail's list, it's actually really interesting because, like, while not to be critical of either Archons or Cabalite Warriors or Venoms, there really isn't. I mean, there's some output, but there isn't kind of like what we saw yesterday with the Knights versus the Lehman Russes, right? Like, where it's like, this is a definitive, this does a thing. Yeah,
Yes.
like, Mail's list seems very much like more ITC orientated, hold, kill, do some recon,
Yes.
and orientate around that.
It's very similar to Scari's, I would say, except Scary, I believe, has a little bit more of the upfront damage. Mail's list seems to be very, very cagey. It's hit you with my Skyweaver bomb, hope they live, back off, and then kind of just, hit and run, scoot and boot.
Yeah, I say that, but then you've got the Ravagers that are the
Well,
threat.
for Scary, yes.
Yeah, if you, the I'm just talking about volume of threats.
Mhm.
You've got Ravagers, the Talos are the
Talos.
threats, and it just feels like it feels like to me, looking at the list and then seeing them on the tabletop, that he already started out with more threats on the board. Then throwing away the Skyweavers, which were one of only 2 threats that Mail had at the start.
I believe you're right, yes.
Ended up just like there's just now a kind of like a momentum that's much more in the Drukhari's favor.
I do believe at this point, really, this is going to be a turning point for the game, depending on what Scari's able to do. If Scary puts out kind of like the average possible damage that he can put out, this turns in his favor drastically. Mail doesn't have a lot of his speedy units available to keep getting behind enemy lines after this turn, because he's going to have to move this Hemlock. If Skari decides to take one of them out, that's an issue. The other thing here is Mail's units that he has left on the ground. There's not too many of them. Skari could choose to ignore the 3 planes and just move everything into this area and try to just boots on the ground him.
Yeah, okay.
And just win the game that way.
That makes sense.
That
So
is a
how much
potentiality.
does he have left? Let's get
Let's
that
see if we
top
can get a
down.
close up in this area here and see what he has left. I believe he still has a Venom hiding in this area, but he'll be very low on model count on the ground.
He will be, but like I really do
with
feel
a very good turn.
Okay, it was a very solid turn. So there you go. So
This is the majority. Mail does have a Venom down this way that is in hiding. But yeah, this is the majority of what's left of Mail's army is in this little ball on top of the Flyers.
Not
so
much.
If Skari does want to move into this area with the Talos, with his remaining characters, get his Ravagers with a good line of sight down this way to take some pot shots, that may be his plan, is to just wipe out the remaining Venoms that are up here, and then get his close combat and try to finish off the wounded guys he's got in the back corner.
So there were also some Rangers deployed that turn, right?
Yes.
By Mail.
He does have 3 units of Rangers. There's a unit here. I believe there's a unit in the top corner over here. And then there's another one here. So he'll have to be able to pick those off as well. It is a thought I know that's going through Skari's head. I believe he mentioned it. I believe he did just vocalize it, that's something he is considering. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, for me personally, I think there's still quite a few. I would just start to, because he can clear them off later.
Yes.
And I feel the planes. He's got the tools currently to deal with the planes.
It's going to be very interesting to see what he decides.
And not letting Mail have the swing back, like just some good rolls and some bad invuln saves, and it swings back the other way.
I will say this turn he has to kill the Solitaire. Skari needs to finish that Solitaire off. It can't have another turn.
He's just going to hide, dodge, weave, duck, dive. He can just avoid everything, even auto hit flamers somehow avoid.
Yeah, somehow he dodges the auto hits,
dodge and avoid, because he is great. I think we can actually look at one of the, in my opinion, one of the most impactful units that we've seen in 40k recently. John, have we got the unit card for the Talos? Because I think it was, like we discussed earlier, an early mistake potentially in not just trying to clear them out a little bit more.
I believe you're right.
And now they've just bullied their way up. They're here again. They're just going to smash here unimpeded, realistically.
And that'll probably be a couple dead, at least a dead Solitaire, if not a couple dead Death Jesters as well.
It will be, and I'm sad about that because those Death Jesters are hilarious fun.
I do enjoy the Shadowfall relic for the Dreaming Shadow Death Jesters, which Mail does have in his list. It is a hilarious thing when you get it to work.
I don't want to talk about how I feel about Harlequins right now. I feel just points reductions and it's a viable army. Although I do love the gangster run and shoot nature of the fusion pistol transports, just running around, just pretending it's a hip hop video from 1995, just doing side-bys and just firing at people.
And pardon me, yes, you're correct. It is Curtainfall, not Shadowfall. I get too excited about other things.
Curtainfall. It's a good name. But yeah, so as you can see on the screen, kind of on the screen, is those Talos there. I've already got the camera set up for you, John. Oh, no. Or I haven't. Let's go find out. Yeah, those Talos. These things have been, especially in the UK, Mr. Mark Crumbleyhome, if you're listening,
yes,
was taking names of them for a while. And I played a couple of Drukhari players who aren't him, and I know that they're very, very popular. They're just devastating and so tough to deal with.
They are, and they can deal with basically any type of unit.
Oh, the Solitaire.
Solitaire has just been picked up, as well as one of Mail's Venoms by the sounds of things.
Okay, so we're into the shooting phase for Skari.
Yes, well, he no longer has a psychic phase with the Cat Lady gone, so it was just basically move, reposition, and then get right into that damage. Oh, there we go. There's our Talos.
There's a Talos. Guys. Look at those guys. So they just are crazy. 3-up armor save. They have, and because obviously they're in Prophets of the Flesh, they're going to have this 5-up invuln save is actually a 4-up invuln save.
Yes,
which is just crazy. Their move, movement 8 is good.
It's absolutely incredible. The fact that they also fly is a thing.
Yeah, they fly, so they just move over their own screens or someone else's screens, and they're just tough as nails. They're just really tough, and they look scary, and they're super weird and creepy, and I don't like it.
Well, it is what it is.
Let's get to the top down again, John, please, if you don't mind. So Tywin says, Talos just wants to give out free hugs. Is that so bad? Yeah, they're hugs I don't want.
Yeah, they're definitely, just like Max Dubois' hugs, they're hugs that I do not want.
I imagine he's an affectionate cuddler.
He really is, but there's a lot of muscle under that fat, under all that Timbit, and it just isn't as comfortable as I'd like.
I did not know the French were so in love with Timbits.
Scrivo is ripping into them now. He's trying to get as many as he can in. He's like a starving South African child. He knows that Max is going to come back over soon. He's like, I need to get my sugar in.
I'm not sure he can say that, but that's fine. That's wow. You say things I say.
I do say things you say. It's like we're the same person. Oh, it looks like Val is coming back over.
Oh, here he comes.
His face is deep
to
within
save
his cell
us
phone.
From talking about anything else. The man of the hour. Let me tell you, one of the things most people don't know about Val Heffelfinger, he has a variety of shirts that look like they're from like a second-hand shop.
Oh no, they are from a secondhand shop, but they're from a premium secondhand shop.
Premium
in York
secondhand
Mills.
shop where they're actually only the shirts of ex-millionaires that lived by beaches.
Yes, and you have to pay more money for them than you would have
if you bought them new. And because of that, here he is in said shirt, the gorgeous Mr. Val Heffelfinger.
He stole it from my mother.
Thank you very much. The shirt actually reminds me of a pillowcase set that my mother used to have, and fills me with nostalgia. So thanks for dragging that through the mud. Appreciate it, guys. So we're going to, my name is Val Heffelfinger. This is the Capital City Bloodbath 2019 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which is very hard to say. Okay, so we're just going to do a quick update here. First up, we've got, I didn't really look in detail at what was going on with our actual top table. Looks like Eric has it well in hand versus Josh Death. So the member of the Canadian ETC team, highest ranked, there's actually a couple of them right now undefeated. We've got him, we've got Dustin Henshaw, as well as, that's it, I think, unless the one I forgot. Anyway, so in the Eric Marcoux game, we have essentially 3 Triple Crusaders plus an Emperor's Wrath artillery detachment squaring off against an AdMech detachment with a Knight and some Primaris Marines on a very open table. So that's not drawn up very well. Maybe we'll get an interview later. Next up, we have Dustin Henshaw, also an ETC member, versus Diego Pain in My Ass. That one is very hotly contested right now. They just wrapped up the second turn. Of course, Dustin rocking the Gene Stealer cult with just a lot of tools. It's 3 battalions, I believe. Lots of acolytes. Some of them have the hand flamers. Some of them have rock saws. Lots of the characters, just things that come in that I don't understand. He also, though, has I believe actually it is a battalion with 3 tank commanders, which obviously start on the board. Diogo on the other side, though, he's running 5 Dark Eldar Flyers, 3 of the Razor Wings, 2 of the Bombers, and 3 Crimson Hunters. So that's 8 Flyers. But he's backed it up with 7 Venoms in a Drukhari detachment. And a Venom might be the hardest 5 T5 wounds you're ever going to kill. So it actually gives it some stickiness on the board and a little bit of presence as well, whereas otherwise he would just be Flyers. Sometimes you see those lists, just got some characters, and that's about it. So right now, Diogo looks like an early lead on primary, about 6 points there. Dustin, however, is hanging in there, 1 point ahead on primary. He's got 6 to Diogo's 5, and just slowly building. He's only got 2 points on secondary. So it's still tight game, going into turn 3. One thing I'm noticing here, Dustin did pick Recon, has not scored a single Recon point. So that's going to immediately put him at a disadvantage now. Can only really score, well, I guess he could still max out Recon if he gets his act together, and they go 6 turns. Moving on to Jerome Pilon versus Tori Pete. This game is basically almost a mirror match, virtually exactly the same. You've got a lot of Talos. In Jerome's list, you got 6. In Tori Pete's, you got 9. In both, you got 3 Ravagers, 3 Razor Wings. You've got a good amount of Grotesques, a little bit more in Tori's list. The main difference is that Tori, I believe, went with 2 Spearheads, whereas Jerome tried to get a battalion in there for the command points. Tori said, YOLO, I don't need command points. He went with the double Spearhead. Started out hot. Looks like they're about halfway through turn 3 at right now. Tori looking to be ahead on primary quite a bit, 7-2. Jerome did get a kill and a hold. However, in turn 3, we'll see what Tori winds up with. On secondaries, they're about even, 7-6 for Tori, but looks like a head for Tori. Meanwhile, we got world famous Jim Vessel rocking his list. I'll go into it another time. He's well ahead right now. He's sitting at about 10 points on primary to 3. He's got 2 secondary points to, sorry, he's got 4 secondary points to 2. But that's a big primary lead with a very strong board control list. Lots of Plague Bearers in his list, up against basically Riptides, Broadsides, Drones, and hey, Hazard Suits. Those are good, right? So probably just farming points at this point. Jim needs to get his points up if he wants to have a chance at first overall here. Finally, we got, actually second to finally, we've got a game, Jeff Pandierda, who I promised I would learn how to say his name, and I didn't. I just completely failed at that mission. He's running the Muscle Beach variant of Gene Stealer Cult, which means 30 aberrants plus a bunch of stuff and 3 battalions. Over on the other side, though, he's up against Scott Burdett, who's running Tau with the Hammerheads and Long Strike. Cyclic Ion Commanders, which I love. You might say they're sick. Lick. 2 Riptides. Not a lot of drones, though. That's problematic. Looking a little behind on primary for Jerome. Sorry, for Scott. Jeff well ahead there. And ahead on secondaries as well. Jeff might be playing a little cat and mouse with this one as well. Just farming them points. Finally, I'd say today's People's Champion, Eric Scrivens, taking on Matt Celuros. With a Celuros is playing is Mono Deathwatch versus Mono Custodes here. Eric is running the Custodes again. This is breaking news as of yesterday. No Caladius Grav Tanks, the only undefeated Custodes player left. But he does have 11 Aquilon Terminators with Fire Pikes. That's the core of the list. And he has just been crushing people with sort of a beta strike type move. There's not a lot of Death Watch left. A lot of fun. Primaris Death Watch, 2 big Aggressor and Intercessor mixed units, 2 big mixed units of Hellblasters and Intercessors, and then a couple Mortis Dreadnoughts. So it's got him this far. Probably not much further than that. 2 guys going real far today, though. The Falcon and Robert. Some call him Bobby Symes. Over to the booth.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Yes.
Heffelfinger.
Thank you, Val, and you are correct. I'm already at third base. I've gone as far as I think I can go, farthest I've ever gone in my life, despite having 3 children. We're back. We've got quite the game for us. We're zoomed in on something extremely spectacular that's happening, and that is the complete and utter dismantling of Mel Belcor's
Yeah,
armor.
so to quickly catch you up where you are, if you just joined us, we're into turn 3 for Skari, a male versus Skari. So you've got an Eldari force and a Jakari force in a kind of mirror match, but effectively we're into the combat phase for Skari, and a lot of big things happened.
Yes, so Skari did manage to come in. He charged. What you're seeing here was he managed to charge in a unit of Talos. He got a big 11-inch charge, so he charged over the characters, got in behind them to smack Male's Shadowseer, which he had been trying to screen with the Venom and these characters here. So the Talos just were like, no, we don't even care. Jumped over, smacked the Shadowseer. He then had an Archon go into the Spirit Seer here. And I believe he had another character that did fail a charge to get into the Death Jesters. The Talos put all of their attacks into the Shadow Seer, dropped the Shadow Seer, but the Shadow Seer does have the ability to fight on death, which it did, and it killed one of the Talos in return. So
which is just fantastic.
it is fantastic. Ribbon does have one Talos left. It's a very scary.
You could say he got the last laugh.
He did, and we can just see now that secondary Archon has moved into after killing the Spirit Seer, has moved into that final Venom along with the Talos. That Venom's going to be ultra dead, probably next turn. What we need to talk about now, we were talking a little bit about boots on the ground as a possibility here for Skari. What you can see that's happened here, there's a unit of Rangers here. They're down now to 2 models, I believe, because these Kabalite Warriors, they got mountain climbing degrees from community college.
They did.
They
Grapple
rolled
hooks from Batman.
Yeah, so they were hedged up against here. They rolled a nice 11-inch charge, so they just climbed all the way up on here using their nice little grapple hooks.
He did re-roll the charge though.
He did re-roll the charge
re-roll
to
the
get
charge.
it. But so he climbed all the way up. He's a big machine. He's gonna try to finish off this unit. So all Mail has left, really on the board in terms of boots, is he's got this Venom. I believe he has 2 Rangers that are hiding back here, and he's got another unit of Rangers and Kabalite Warriors that are kind of off screen, right in this building.
No problem.
So you see them right here. There's Kabalite Warriors on the ground right beside them, and 1 Venom right here. And that's all he's got left on the ground, other than the 3 flyers. So
not a lot.
So Skari, it does sound like he is going to try. He is going to try and take those units out, and
which you called. You called. I thought he'd go for the planes. I'd nullify the threat, but no, you said he's going to go for that, and it seems like it's going to work out for him.
It does seem, but I mean, it's still anybody's game. Those flyers are extremely deadly. A lot of Skari's models currently are in the same place, so those flamers can do a lot of damage if the Hemlocks get in on them. It is something he is a little bit worried about, but his main concern this turn was killing the Solitaire and getting rid of some of those character support.
But thankfully the Solitaire died.
And the Solitaire did die to shooting from one of Skari's Ravagers, I believe.
Yes.
And so it's a very interesting where we're sitting at right now. Skari's other Ravager did put a couple wounds on one of the flyers, the one that's at the bottom of the screen here. You can just see his little nipple hanging out. I believe that's his nose, but I mean, whatever. It's anatomically correct, as all flyers are. So there are a couple wounds that have been popped on it from a Ravager, but not a whole lot. Skari is kind of going for the board control here. He's got a Venom hanging out. Venom here on this middle objective. And what we can't see is there is a unit of Racks that have run all the way from here, and they're kind of hiding back here from that Venom, hopefully to pop out onto this objective when he wants to score even more points and kind of take control of the game.
And as you can see from the points at the minute, it's 10-5 to
for Mail, but it is Skari's bottom turn, so we're going to get an update here and see exactly how many he was able to score.
They've both scored very well every turn so far.
And I do believe Skari will have maxed out Headhunter on this turn. I believe he did kill 3 characters, so that'll be a big swing for him.
That will be big.
Just like Mail has scored 3 of his 4 points for Pick Your Poison.
Yes, but and that Shadow Seer helping so much in killing another Talos to get rid of one of those Pick Your Poison units.
Yes.
However, there's still a Talos left, and as we talked about when we looked at that unit card, that they are just so tough to get rid of. They obviously have a great output as well. They are all of the things that you want in a unit.
Oh, literally, they do absolutely everything. They're a beautiful unit. I'm not a fan of the model, but whatever, it is what it is. I wish the Kronos was better because I love the lore of the Kronos.
Very cool.
It's super cool. The fact that it just kind of sucks your life away by hanging out.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah. Oh, yes, Grimo has pointed at me and say that I am, in fact, a Kronos.
Yeah, it feels like my
probably correct.
It does.
So we have gotten a score update. Scribbo is going to be inputting it now, but it does look like Skari was able to kill. He did not get kill more. But he did hold more, so he did score 3 points in the round, as did Mail. Skari did complete his Headhunter, and he did get his 2nd point of Recon. One other thing to mention when we're looking at these scores is Skari's 3rd secondary is Ground Control, which he cannot score till the end of the game, so we really have no idea
whether or not he's going to get that.
There is a possible 4-point swing at the end that we're not going to be able to talk about until everybody shakes hands.
Well, I mean, these guys have already played a blisteringly fast game.
It's true. I believe
and
Skari
competently.
I believe Skari has 45 minutes left on his clock, and Mail has just over 30.
Wow.
So, and they're moving into turn 3. There's not a lot left on the board. It's going to be a pretty. I believe this game will go to 6 rounds unless they shake hands earlier. Really,
I think that's what's really interesting about these Eldar lists, right? They have so much output, but they have very little sustain and grind.
Yes.
Apart from, I know someone out there's like, Rob, I played against Drukhari. That's not true. You're right. A bunch of Talos, bunch of Grotesques.
Yeah,
they are the
sit around for
definition of
forever.
grind and survivability. But not these ones that we're looking at here. There's a lot of small infantry squads. They're not particularly survivable. They're just going to fall away to a breeze. And then the big threats on the board have been removed fairly quickly by both players. And then there's a bunch of characters. And it's not that they're weak. It's just that they're there. So while we wait to see what happens in Mail's
Turn 3.
Turn 3, the beginning of turn 3, we're going to get a conversation from an interview, in fact.
Yes, so I believe Val is here with the loser and the winner from Table 2. He'll have Joshua Death and I believe Eric Marcoux on to do a little talking. I believe Josh is going to be first on screen. So one thing, guys, yesterday there were a lot of complaints that everyone that was interviewed was extraordinarily short, that we somehow decided to only have height-deficient people on stream. Well, we've changed our minds. Josh Death is an absolute giant. He makes Val look like a tiny gorilla. Rob, you want to cut to them?
Let's go to them.
Friendly?
Hey guys, I'm joined here with Joshua Death. Josh Death. Apparently also an alias.
Yes. So actually, Death is my last name.
Death is his last name.
It's actually my last name.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to check the birth certificate. That's going to get complicated. So you're coming off the top table here.
Yeah, top table. It was an awesome game. Eric Marcoux, he and I have fought 4 times in the last couple years. Always really harsh, brutal games. I mean, it's really tight. He's a great player. The big one that we kind of came into this was the last 2 times we played. He had really, really bad dice in our games, and I had really, really good dice, and it really kind of tipped it. So we walked in today, and I'm like, all right, you're due. This one's yours. And he's like, nope, you're gonna do it again. And so I was right. He definitely was due. He had a really good game. He played it. God, he played it well. The night list that he's running is amazing. I think the choice to run his guard as Talon was primo. It was an amazing choice for him.
Reese Robbins loves that.
Then good. The tech's right. It's good.
So,
good list.
so what I want to ask is, coming up to that table, and obviously the audience hasn't seen it, does your heart sink a little bit looking at that one?
The terrain?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, when I walked up to the table and saw it, I'm like, ouch. Because I mean, it has that one large piece, but even that one large piece is literally just short enough that you can't hide a knight behind it, which is smart. But other than that, there's no real line of sight blocking on the entire table, and 3 knight list, and he went first. So that was a really rough first turn. But I gave it a fight, put 16 points on the board, so it was awesome. It was really, went all 6 turns, fought it out to the nail, and it was brutal. I gotta say, the snake eyes charge for Pedro through the forest, 2 inches away from the knight, that was hilarious.
So if you're trying to get away in the forest, you don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun Pedro Cantor. Thank you very much for joining us, Josh. Good run so far.
Thank you.
Setting up nicely for maybe a second place or a high placing.
4-2. 4-2 is my hope.
4-2.
I need one more
That's
win.
what they call that is false modesty, a specialty up here in Canada. It's what we're really good at. We don't actually think that you're that great. We just make you think that we think you're that great. But 2 guys that, no, for real, no, for serious. These guys, they're great. Rob and the Falcon, back to the booth.
Wow. I mean, look, sarcasm doesn't really work on me because I'm English.
Yeah, sarcasm 100% works on
Yeah.
me. Val has lied to me my entire life, and I still love the man. Nothing I can say ever poorly
I mean, that's what
about
I mean.
that
He lies to
absolute
everyone, right? That's why
genius.
you guys call it the 40k Stats Center, yet neglect to put any stats in the show.
Oh, it's for sure, but it's also because Val doesn't understand numbers. That's why he's in the financial market. Because you don't need to. All money is made up. Val is looking at me now, and
I hope you can hear that.
Currency.
It's a fiat currency that means
Yeah.
nothing. So
How can you be in debt to the moon?
you can do more. Absolutely, yeah. I think this is
Go
fine.
right ahead, Val. You go
Yeah,
find something. We're going to keep talking about
I'll just do a 1 second. Currently, from what we're learning from the tabletop, Mail's in his turn, and what his aim is to do is to try and wipe out units to stop Ascari from scoring recon.
Yes.
That's what we've heard from our table boss. So that's what he's currently doing. Whether or not he does that, we'll come back to that in a moment to let you know. Now Val's going to go and interview a apparently the best player in the world.
The self-professed and ITC-professed best player in the world.
Yeah, he is. However, he may be the best player in the world, but still doesn't know how to wear a hat properly.
No, but I will tell you this about Jim Vessel. He is going to be on our $5 bill soon.
Yeah, one day, soon. Val and Jim.
Hi, guys. Just snuggling here with JV, Jim Vessel.
What's up?
ITC number 1.
Something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Well, you can see he looks a little cuddly and friendly right now between games, but you can tell that there's a potential for a surly demeanor here. But, Jim is a good guy. He's a good guy, wonderful guy to run into, unless you're his opponent this round. What happened?
We played Dawn of War with 5 objectives, and I got to go first. And basically, he had 2 marker lights in his tower me. I sniped out his one of his marker light guys turn 1 with snipes, and then so he basically was hitting my whole army on 6s his turn 1, which was awesome. So he killed like 8 models, and then I charged a lone fire war unit with some bloodletters and ran the mirror up behind them and basically tagged his whole army and just mirror right behind, and he literally didn't shoot till turn 4. He shot 1 Riptide in turn 4, and then I just heroically intervened and smited the rest of his army off. Yeah, it was not pretty. Everything was in combat with like leadership 6 drones, so he wasn't going anywhere. So yeah, he just couldn't shoot me basically for 4 of the 6 turns.
So for the folks at home who may not know this, the Epitome replaced the world-famous Contemptor C-Beam Dreadnought. I think for some good reason. What does the Epitome do?
So it's got 3 tricks that I use it for. Well, first it's like a Demon Prince almost in combat. Got 10 attacks, strength 6, high AP, and multiple damage.
2 guys holding a mirror and moving them have 10 attacks?
If I ever move, I want to get these guys to help me out because they move 12 inches with that mirror, which is crazy fast. Even though the normal heralds only move 6, it makes literally no sense. So they're just
there's 2 of them, so twice as fast.
Yeah. And then prevents fallback within 6 inches if you don't roll under your leadership on 3d6, which is big, because with the -1 to leadership within 12 bubble, leadership 8, you got to roll a 6 because you're down a 7, and then you got to roll 6 on 3d6. If you tag 2 or 3 units in combat, it's really hard to get away.
Would an ethereal help them get around that?
It did, and that was the only reason. But I killed the ethereal quickly after because I was like, yeah, he's got to go. And then it also can hold the Forbidden Gem, which is a super feel bad relic. Yeah.
What does that one do?
So Forbidden Gem, it's kind of same shenanigans. Start of any phase, you pick a character within 12. If you roll over its leadership on 3d6, it can't act for the phase, can't fight, can't shoot. Any aura abilities are canceled. So, for instance, I did that on an Everstar that came into me, stopped it from doing attacks. Did it on a Knight Crusader that got too close. A character, it started shooting phase, couldn't shoot.
Are people not factoring this in yet?
Honestly, I forget it more than my opponents. It's one of those relics that's very, very not used a lot because no one really takes Slanesh characters. I tell you at the start of the game, and then you kind of forget about it. And then in that one critical phase, it's like, gotcha. So, yeah, it can be devastating.
Yeah, so I got a bunch of Demon Princes. I got this guy moving this mirror. Don't worry about him. He's got this relic that messes you up and you can't do anything. So let's get this going. Yeah. I'm just a guy. So how many points you get there?
41. Yeah.
Oh, that's what Jimbo needed.
Yeah, I didn't get a bonus on turn 1, but otherwise I got every turn. Because it was the one where you have to hold the 2 objectives that you place. And basically, I placed it on the deployment zone in the open across from my other objective. And because my bloodletters are OBSEC and they charge turn 2, this is actually the first game my bloodletters have survived the whole game because they were in combat from turn 2 onwards. And
one time they died in reserve.
One time they died in reserve, yeah. So, talk about that.
Well, that's fantastic because I was saying earlier that, you've taken the hard road so far.
Yeah, my last 2 games were super tough.
Yeah, so 2 big grinders, which lower points, which when you need to have top points to win this thing, this is shaping up a little better.
Yeah, it's looking good, but now I got a Murderer's Row, whatever's left here. So
Murderer's Row, 2 are left. 2 murderers never convicted, though, right in front of me. Rob Symes, the Falcon, dicking around somewhere else. Oh, here he is, over to the booth.
I tell you what, a lot of people have talked about that man, that Jim. I've heard about him, and he has lived up to everything I've ever heard.
Yes, he does look
charming,
like he's drunk
nice,
all the time.
Talented, graceful.
Yeah, a beautiful man. He's actually a ballerina as his 3rd job. Unlike Ridvan, he is a professional chef, a ballerina, and a professional Warhammer 40k player.
Very interesting, whereas Scary is a surfboard polisher.
Yes, exactly. A waxer, as it were.
And talking about the tabletop here, we are going to show you how he has waxed his opponent off the board.
Yes, but I mean, we're looking now at Mail making a bit of a comeback. He is pulling out all the stops to try and make this a game, and I think it's going to be.
Okay, we'll get the top down. I know it's not quite as crystal clear as these other fancier cameras, so apologise about that. But we'll just do a quick overview, and then we'll go back to a nicer look so you can see a tactical shot. So we're currently in Mail's turn 3.
You are correct. We're in Mail's turn 3.
Which is the bottom of turn 3, and some excitement's happened on the tabletop. I'll catch you up as the Falcon learns what has happened. But the Flyers have obviously moved here, and here. They were all centrally kind of positioned around here at the start. And as far as we were aware before we took a break, we were expecting Mail to try and go and clear units out so that Skari couldn't score recon. Is that what happened?
Yes. So Skari did have a Venom hanging out here. He had another Venom here. He had a unit of Rax right here. And so what happened is we saw the 2 Flyers that moved down here, along with the Venom that had been on this middle objective, came down here, discharged its Kabalite Warriors. Sorry, that Venom actually went here, discharged its Kabalite Warriors this way, and then put its shots into the Rax that were hiding under here. This Hemlock Wraithfighter was able to kill the Venom on this objective. This Hemlock killed the Venom that was hanging out here. 4 of the Racks were killed by this Venom.
Which then, FYI, with one left,
made a 12-inch charge, I believe.
And just got in. That was the excitement we just heard from the tabletop.
Yes. He needed exactly 12 inches. He said, why not? The Rack's not going to be able to kill me anyway. Rolled for it just for the sheer luck and made the 12-inch charge to try and finish off this remaining Rack. So the big thing here is Mail is really trying hard to keep Skari from getting any kind of recon. Now, that being said, Mail is still in a lot of trouble in this area. He just has his 2 Death Jesters and a Venom with a couple Kabalite Warriors hanging out up here. And the majority of Skari's fighting force is all right here.
Wrapped up.
And they are looking to do some punching. So it's going to be I think this game is going to be extraordinarily close. One thing you guys can't see is every time a roll goes Mail's way, he jumps into the air, and his standing high jump is probably about 4.5 feet.
Yeah.
The man, we have not cut to this man. He is an Olympic athlete in every sense of the word. I know there are actual Olympic athletes that play this game, but I'm quite sure that he should be.
I think he should be. I think maybe we should include some sort of physical activity in and around also playing the game at the same time. I know Tom Layton currently watching. He prowls a tabletop and was once recorded having done over 800 laps of a board during a match.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Tom Layton is an absolute unit in every sense of the word. It does look like we have Val Heffelfinger here. Again, this guy is just spoiling us with interviews with some of the top tables.
Some of the best players in the world.
And I believe you'll recognize the person that he's with if you happen to watch any of our coverage yesterday. He has got Jeffrey the Pandarada.
Someone who I had the pleasure to meet, and he's a lovely man.
He is a lovely man. He is a tree trunk in the Warhammer community.
He does, however, currently look like he is a poet about to do some riffs along with Val.
A beat poet, as it were.
Yeah, a beat poet. So here they are, our street beat poets, Val and Jeff.
I assume that means the camera's on me and Jeff. Now, Jeff, I've been murdering your name all tournament long. Please, for me, the viewers at home who didn't just hear Falcon flawlessly say it, how do I say your name?
It's Jeffrey Pandarada.
Jeffrey Pandarada. Why is that so hard? It's not hard.
The accent is Pandarada.
Jeffrey Pandarada.
There you go.
Okay. So you're playing a list right now in your own image, Muscle Beach.
That's it.
I mean, you're jacked AF. Yeah. You're ripped, dude. How's it? I mean, obviously, you've achieved T-Whip. Yeah. Tournament in winning position. That means he's gone 4-0 at a major or GT. High five. That's awesome. Is this your best start?
This is definitely my best start. Yesterday was my first time at a major going undefeated. So it's been a good weekend. I just recently came off from 2 months off of playing 40k, and I just wanted to come back to something that I'm familiar with, which was my 30 aberrants. And for some reason, they're just smashing today and yesterday. So I'm having a good time.
For some reason, aberrants are smashing. I think that's kind of what they do. That's what their whole thing is. So what were you playing against? How'd it go?
Right now I was playing against Tau. So he had Long Strike and 3 Hammerheads, and then he had two Riptides, only 5 Shield Drones, and then he just a couple of, like, strike teams and some Cold Star commander suits and stuff. personally, I think he lost in deployment. He castled up in a little corner, and it got to the point.
Hef told you about that, guys. I don't know if you remember, but I did say, castle up in the corner, gave up the whole board. It's because I know Warhammer.
Like, I had the rest of the board holding recon with just, like, characters hiding around, getting the bonus points. But once I was able to get in, like, a Riptide survived on 1 wound, and he literally couldn't fall back because he had a 4-inch movement. And then once I got into the Hammerheads, they couldn't go anywhere. Like, he'd fall back, and I was able to literally heroic with an Abominant and smash a Hammerhead. And then next turn, heroic. Like, it was just domino effect once I got in.
So how many points you get in the end?
I got 36 to 8.
Ooh, Jeff P. Jeff Penderada. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Super proud of you, bro.
Thanks.
Toronto native as well. Well, maybe not native, but
Yeah,
native?
born and raised.
Born and raised in the T.O. dot. That's the 6. But right now we're in the Ottawa Wicks. What's 613? I think 613 air code. No, here is 613.
Oh, here?
Anyway, I'm an idiot. You know that. You know who else is dumb? No, it's just me. Shoot. Anyway, back to the booth.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. 2 of the best members of the 6. That's correct. Torontonians' own.
Yes.
Guys there. So we can see on the tabletop there, because you guys at home were discussing Scary and Mail and their athleticism. You can see them on the tabletop. Mail, a gym coach. Scary, a professional Warhammer player, and also
Surfboard
a
waxer. I mean, it's something to be proud of. The buffer, yeah.
So Mail has finished his turn 3.
Yes, he's now down to 15 minutes. That turn did take a little bit of time for him, trying to work out exactly how he's going to pull himself out of what he thinks is a bit of a bad situation. I think he is right in that it is, but it's not terribly out of control yet. He did manage, like we said, to clear out most of this half of the board of Scari's units. Now,
because of the mobility and the output of those flyers that he maybe should have dealt with?
Well, you say you maybe should have dealt with. We'll see how it all plays out. I think this is the first time we've disagreed, but I'm not saying you're wrong. Those hemlocks are absolutely terrifying. This ended up being nothing. The Venom absolutely did no wounds to the Rack. The Rack is still living. He made his leadership save, so he's just hanging out. He's like, whatever, I don't care about you.
One Rack, just holding on for dear life.
Yep. And then we saw the combat here. The Cabalite Warriors have brought those Rangers down to 1 model. Up here were all of the dangers happening for Mail. The Death Jesters, one of them is down to 2 wounds. The other one is still full. But the Talos did clear out all of Mail's Cabalite Warriors and Rangers that were hiding behind that rock.
We'll get a better view of the tabletop now for you guys. We'll go to my cam. And we'll be able to.
It does look like at the end of this turn, Mail will score the bonus point because he does have a couple Cabalite Warriors hanging on here, and he does have some hanging here, which are the 2 objectives that he placed. So he will be scoring that bonus point, and it does look like if Scary can clear off these models, that he will score his bonus as well, since these are the 2 objectives he needs to control.
Okay, and that Talos is still denying the bonus point over for Mail at the minute being on the board. It's still on the board, right?
The Talos, yeah. So for the poison, yes, that Talos is still alive. It's still kicking. It's going. It looks like it's either about to pick up a bunch of the remaining Rangers, I believe, that are Cabalite Warriors that are on that objective, there's I believe a homunculus hanging out here trying to finish off the Death Jesters.
No problem. Let's go find out about that.
Let's get a little closer.
Let's get a little closer and see exactly how. I mean, this game is really coming down to like the finest single units. I mean, we just did discuss that a Venom having to charge into a Rack was a game-changing play at this point.
Yes.
Which is nice that it's the minutiae of the game that really is going to pull through for the win, because as you said, it's quite close.
It's a very close game. I do believe Scary does have the advantage over Mail, but like we said, I mean, those flyers are still full health. They can put out a ton of damage. Unfortunately, the range on the Hemlocks means that he has to do a lot of movement, and now they're in the bottom corner where there isn't a whole lot hanging out. So he's going to have to make quite the beeline. This one should be able to get up here and provide support if nothing's locked into combat. I believe there's another one that's further down. Not sure what this guy's going to be able to do for support. maybe come up here and take out the Kabalite warriors that are hanging out here.
I mean, that would be quite useful realistically, or potentially.
Or potentially, he probably can make it all the way up here and get into the Ravagers, depending on where Skari moves them.
Yeah, but I feel the one in the center is going to have to move forward and go and take out the Talos, and bringing him out of combat. That's going to be because then just get that point, and the threats are all there as well, so he might as well be there. He might as well be there.
Yeah, for sure.
And go take those guys out.
And we did just find out Skari has spent the last of his command points, so both players are down to 0. The game is now completely based on what's on the die and nothing further. No more shenanigans from
Yeah,
the
no
player.
shenanigans. All shenanigans over. Most of the Psychers are dead as well, in fact, actually.
Yes.
Shadowseer's dead.
Shadowseer's dead. The
Cat
Spirit
Lady is
Seer,
dead.
Cat Layer. I believe all Psychers, except for the Hemlock Wraith Fighters, as they are Psychers, are dead at this
Do
point.
they need any more rules?
You know what? If I would say no. I believe if they could get rid of that Vector Dancer ability, maybe they would not be as absolutely terrifying as Eldar Flyers.
They are atrociously good,
But-
which is why you see them in all those top lists, and you see them constantly taken.
Particularly the Crimson Hunter Exarchs. I mean, Hemlocks, they are no slouches either, but those Crimson Hunter Exarchs put out so much damage for what they're capable for their point cost and what they're capable of doing. So
I actually think the mobility of cheek. I for one really like the cheeky smite coming out of these.
It is
because of the
quite
mobility,
cheeky.
exactly because of this character sniping we've talked about so
and the
much
ability
already.
to jinx or throw some other things out when you're not expecting it, it's quite entertaining.
Yeah, very, very good. Very good. We don't know, actually, we don't have a preview yet on what we think the next game's going to be. We did hear that I think a Mechanicum/Night mix potentially has done well as Gene Stealer Cults. I think with Jeff, with his Gene Stealer Cults, won his...
Jeff was Gene Stealer Cult, so
which
that's
we had him on the
possibility.
stream already yesterday, so he might be making a return as well, playing either Mail or Skari later on.
Yes.
So that would be really fun, and I genuinely loved watching that Gene Stealer Cult army play, so I would like to see it have another crack at the whip.
Well, it could
truth
be
be told.
any really of 5 people. Once we're said and done here, there'll be at least 5 undefeated players, if not more, once this round is over.
But these Canadian events are no one in Canada is scared of hard work. 6 rounds seems like nothing to these gentlemen. So there are 2 more games for you later today.
For sure.
I'm not sure what time zones you guys are listening in. In fact, actually, in the Twitch chat, or anywhere else you're listening, drop us a message. Let us know where you're listening in from. A bit of an international cast, obviously, and it's quite exciting. You've got a bi-national international commentary team, which is exciting.
Bi-national.
Bi-national. That's 2, right?
That's super sexual.
That's how
I
it
agree.
works. We could just call it international, but I was being more specific because that's what we do.
I mean, Canada is still a British colony in almost every way, shape, and form. So really, it's a single nationality.
Oh, Broak is in Sweden, and also Wargas is from Sweden too. Valerie's from Bulgaria. Rogrex is from Svenska. Scottish Highlands from MKill, and Sergeant Ross tuning from Denmark. So people listening from all around the world, specifically the Nordic regions. That's nice. I wonder what you guys are doing up. I suppose those long winter nights.
Those long winter. As someone who also has long winter nights, I fully appreciate everything you guys go through.
Wolf brother, Mon. I know for a fact Frank. God. I know that France. A friend
Ines Wilson's here.
is from
What a
Scotland.
beautiful man.
And Larry Tattoo from Ireland as well. So thanks for joining us, everyone. So we're in Skari's turn.
We are on Skari's turn. Skari has a lot of time left on his clock, folks. He had 45 minutes coming into this round 3. Mail is stuck with 15. We're just now waiting to see exactly what all these dice rollings are for. It looks like we're getting those Death Jesters into combat as well as the Venom. Skari is trying to clear out these objectives so he can score that bonus point this turn. And then we'll move on. So let's see. Can we get a close-up on this close combat and see what's getting picked up?
Of course, boss. Not an issue at all. So there we go. So as we can see, we've just taken a model off there.
So it looks like at least both Death Jesters have been pulled. A Succubus that had been hanging out here with a couple Scourges ran in, has dropped one of the Death Jesters. It looks like the Homunculus took out the other. This Talos and this Venom cleared out the remaining Kabalite warriors. So there's just a Venom. We're just rolling out to see if that Venom manages to survive what's left.
And if it does, it's going to...
Oh, sorry, this is a Death Jester. His yellow head is still hanging out. Only
So
one
he
of them
is
were picked up.
surrounded at this stage by that one Venom.
Yeah, we'll see we'll see how the rest of that goes. This is a big deal for Mail because this will kind of basically split the board for the players, with Skari taking up this half and Mail with this one, and we'll have to see what happens after that.
Okay, so the combat phase is over now, I think, so that turn's done.
Yes.
So
This was a very quick turn
the
for
players
Skari.
are doing very quick turns, and we'll get you what the scores are as we pale through. But like you said, it's going to come down to the wire, which is not what I was expecting, realistically.
No, it's a very close game.
I'd like Twitch chat. If you are a subscriber on the Twitch chat, you can use either the blue or red emoticon to let us know who you're rooting for. Red obviously would be the top player, and that would be Mail with his Eldari. Or if you're rooting for Skari, you can use the blue emoticon. And bring
Nick
that
Fu,
up.
you are correct. California is its own country.
So yeah, you can use the blue the blue emoticon is the thing that you can use to let us know if you're rooting for Skari.
Yeah, that'd be really great to see, guys. Tell me exactly who you want to win. I, of course.
Are you neutral?
They're both Canadian, so there's a bit of neutrality there. But at the same time, Skari is a wonderful lover, a beautiful friend. I can't say enough about this man. He is also the the previous champion of the Capital City Bloodbath.
He's the current reigning champion, so there's actually a lot on the line.
Yes, he is trying to defend his title, get the Thunderhammer yet again for his
second
people.
year in a row.
What does Skari call his people? Anybody in the chat a Scar part of the Scare
Is he a
Nation?
Mennonite?
I don't believe he is a Mennonite. No, he's not. I could be wrong. I don't see him wearing a bonnet or a plaid shirt as I do see from most of the Mennonites that I hang out with.
Okay. Oh, when me and the other Mennonites hang out, that's
when me and those other Mennonites hang out. He doesn't seem to fit the bill. I also don't believe any of them are surfboard waxers. That isn't a profession in their community.
That's weird.
Well,
That's weird.
they mostly
It's
make
weird that then
furniture.
he does that, being both the Mennonite and a
Skari
surfboard
uses
waxer.
denizens. Thank you so much. I'm super glad someone knew.
His community.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe
his dudes.
he has like 6 or 7 followers at least. So
Okay, good. The denizens.
The denizens
of the
That's
warp.
perfect. I really enjoy that.
Okay, good.
So we're waiting to kind of get the final scores. They're kind of just picking up the last 3 or 4 models here. It looks like the Rangers, the one Ranger that had been sitting on that tower has been pulled, and they're now moving into Mail's turn. So it looks like this turn Skari did get hold more, kill, and the bonus to score 4 points. They both killed the same amount of units, so Mail ended with 3 on primaries. It does look like Skari was not able to get recon because of what Mail did. So Mail pulling that strategy to try and keep Skari from scoring those extra recon points. This game is close enough where that is a big deal. So right now Skari really only having these 3 sections of the board. He has nobody down here any longer. It is something he can fix before the game ends if he really needs to. Mail needs to actually start looking at his clock a little closer. We're moving.
We're into 2 hours of the game, so I don't know how much time left Mail has left.
Mail,
on
I
his
believe, is
clock.
getting close to 10 minutes. So he's 13 is what I'm exactly being told. So he needs to make his turns pretty quick. Skari's still riding on about 35 to 40 minutes, so he's got all the time in the world. He can do whatever he likes.
So yeah, he can play through, and Mail's going to be very, very fast. We're going to get this done very quickly.
Now, luckily for Mail, he really only has 5 or 6 units, and he's trying to do his best to score his behind enemy lines, which he's only got 2 points on, and to try and clear out enough of Skari's models so that Skari can't get a lot of ground control when the game ends, because that's another big thing, right?
Yeah, because it's a 4-point swing that we didn't talk about. Well, we've talked about a little bit as we've gone through, but the secondary that Skari's got is only scored at the end, so it's a 4-point swing. And with the scores being 15-16, it's very, very close. 4 points is a lot in it.
So if Mail can take out this Venom, take out the Ravagers, the units that actually have some speed in Skari's list, that's a really big deal for him, because Skari won't be able to take these kind of further away objectives, and it will limit him at the end. It's a good play. I know that it looks like the Hemlock is going to try and smite away that Talos as well.
So this is the Hemlock at the top of the board there. You can see. So he's going to try and bring this in here and do those cheeky D3 mortal wounds. I wonder how many wounds that Talos has got left. If he's full, he's not going to go down just to one.
He's not
going
to go down, but I do believe he has taken a few wounds. He's got a little green tag on him, which are how Skari does do his wound counts.
Yes, the loon bands of justice.
Yes, I'm wondering if our pit boss can tell us exactly how many wounds that Talos has left.
Yeah, we'll find that goss out. And he's also got the flamers if he wants to put those in as well.
Yes.
To take that out, and that's going to be another point. So Do you think it's going to just be clearing units out as often as possible to stop and deny the siege ground later on?
Yes, yeah, 100%. I believe that's his goal. It does look like the Talus is full, so he is going to have to probably smite him and shoot the flamers into him if he wants
But
to
that's
take
a lot
it
of
out.
damage. That could do it.
Oh, for sure, it could do it. It's whether or not it does.
Wouldn't it? It would be nice to keep track and make sure we know what he is targeting with that plane over there. There's not much left.
Not much left.
Not much left.
Skari does have his 2 Ravagers still kicking, a couple Venoms. He does have several of his characters still alive, and that 1 Talos. It looks like 8 wounds have been put on the Talos. We're going to see if how Skari does on the save side.
So this is again just talking about these attacks coming in at the top here. This is pretty much what is going to settle the game.
It does look like he's saved by the sounds of things. We're just waiting to see. Mail's all over the place. He's hopping around. He's so excited.
And we're going to wait for this damage in. There isn't much of an overgame now. It really is just putting the wounds onto the models to kill them and clear them out.
So it looks like Mail actually kind of came around to it with what we were talking about, where I said he probably needs to take out the Venom. He changed his mind. He is popping the wounds onto the Venom instead, which I think is the better move. Like I said, the Talos, while it is an 8-inch movement, it's much harder for him to get all the way down to that bottom corner to score those ground control points. I do believe he's right in that. I believe the Talos is not a unit he really needs to deal with.
It's really interesting. What you're actually seeing is someone playing to deny points as opposed to trying to acquire more points themselves.
Yes.
So they're trying to stop him from achieving something later. That's an extra layer of tactical acumen that's really interesting to see on the tabletop. Actually.
Yes. So really good play on Mail. Really good idea to finally kind of get out of that mindset that the Talos needed
Which
to
Mail
die.
already did earlier on when he was trying to take out units to deny Skari recon.
Yes.
So
he's playing a much tighter game. I think he really does have a very good chance of turning this around. Like we've already said, this is a very close game. That Venom is getting a lot weaker. It is getting low.
But it's not dead.
No, it is
but
not
it's
dead.
not dead.
And Mail was just saying that he really needs to kill something. He needs that kill point this turn.
Yeah, every point is. It's literally a razor thin on the points now at this stage. And Mail picked up none of the extra kill more points so far.
No, he has not. And he did just kill the 1 rack, I guess, which we didn't see. He did pick it off with the Venom back here. But he hasn't been able to kill that Venom yet, although Skari is rolling a ton of save dice at this current standard. We'll see what actually survives. Hopefully our table boss will be able to let us know shortly exactly what lives from all of this shooting that is getting put into Skari's
Yeah, so what
models.
units are being shot at and what's going to live.
Oh, so it looks like we had just moved into close combat is what that was, because Mail just picked up his final Archon that had been surrounded here.
Yes, he had. And then we'll be able to find out which units are fighting where on the tabletop. From our pit boss, thank you so much. Nice to voir. So yeah, we're into combat for Males, and like you said, do you think he's going to get time to get another turn in?
Yes.
You think he is after this?
I think he'll get at least one more. So apparently in close combat, the Death Jester managed to survive the Talos hits. Like we said, Mail was unable to kill the Venom in shooting.
Wow, that is big.
That is big
because he's not going to get a kill point here.
But it does look like, is the Death Jester gone? Can we get a little closer?
Yeah, sure. That's the wrong button for closer. There we go.
It does look like the Homunculus was able to pick up that Death Jester, even though the Talos failed to.
Okay,
because
that's good.
There's nothing bright yellow there any longer.
So that's dead. However, this is alive,
Yep.
which Mail is not going to be happy about.
No, he did get one kill point, but I don't believe
rack.
he was able to get any more. He did kill that 1 rack. I believe he wanted to kill at least 2 units to try and make it a game of it in terms of the kill more. We'll have to see how this plays out. Skari does have some targets on his turn for sure. Plus, he's already killed 2 units in Mail's turn. So
coming down to the wire on the point. So Skari's straight into his movement phase as well.
We're moving right into Skari's bottom of turn 4. Mail was able to kill, hold, and bonus once again, so that's really big for him.
So there we go. See it on the tabletop there. The motions of those oceans there, and what he's trying to do. He's just trying to get. Do you think he's trying to get away from the flyer?
I think Skari's really trying to figure out how he can get those ground control points, because that's going to be a big tipping point in this game.
Just in case, let's remind everyone about ground control and why it's probably going to change.
So ground control is, at the end of the game, Skari scores 1 point for every objective that he holds when the game ends. As it stands right now, Skari's probably got these 2 nailed down. but is he going to be able to get this one and
There
the further one?
Yeah, there are 5 more. John, if we just get the top down quickly, just to talk about them.
So
We'll just wait for that.
So we have these 3 objectives that Scary has to be able to get to. He does have some fast moving units left, but with Mail getting at least 1 more turn in, all he has to do is take those out with the flyers, and then Scary's in a pretty bad place where he's probably only scoring 2 points on ground control. He also is going to struggle to keep getting points on recon. He's only scored 2 recon points. It's something Scary really has to think about. Rob, you may have been right about not targeting those flyers. It may have been Scary's downfall here.
It
We'll
was.
have to
See,
see.
I think the decision he made was like too early. Like it was turn 2, right?
Yes.
Like, and again, that's not to call it because that's
no.
just
This game is definitely far from over. It's extraordinarily close.
very, very close. But I feel that like he decided to start clearing stuff up because he got that initial kind of surge of victory from taking out those Skyweavers right at the top of 1, the bottom 1. So that was a big deal.
Yep.
So then he's like, I'm in a really advantageous place, and like you said,
Exactly.
the flyers were away, so it didn't feel quite as threatening. Then after that turn, while the flyers have been in amongst it, they've just done the work over the course of time.
They've been taking out, and the thing is, Mail has had much better target priority after turn 1. I feel his target priority turn 1 was very poor. He kind of split fired amongst Ravagers, Talos, etc. He did kill those 2 Venoms, but that was really about it. He was trying to do too much with too little.
But then afterwards,
since then, he's been very precise in realizing what Scary's plan was, and then taking out the Venoms right away so that they're not zooming around late game grabbing objectives. One thing we really do need to note again, that maybe if you're new, just tuning in, Mail is extremely low on time. He's now down to 9 minutes, so and he still has to play through 2 full turns. This could work in Scary's favor. Like I said, though, Mail does not have a whole lot of units left. It's very interesting. I do believe we have another interview lined up. I'm going to go check out the table while we listen to Mr.
Val Heffelfinger talking to an American in Canada. Here we go. Mr. Val Heffelfinger.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got one of the youngest, handsomest 40k players on the planet.
You're too kind, Val.
I am too kind. We're rocking monofaction Custodes,
Yes, sir.
Hilarious Terminators, a word that I learned today.
Oh, the Aquilon. Aquilon, not a lot.
Screwed it up.
Yeah, it's okay.
Aquilon Terminators.
Another word that you'll learn today.
Shit. Regardless, congratulations. You're now on 4-0. You've achieved T-Whip. Big deal on 40k stats.
Very happy about it.
That means you are in winning position, sir. How does it feel?
Very good, very good. I've been playing Custodes, mono, foot Custodes since January. Played about 40 games so far, and this is definitely my best showing. I lost second round in LVO to Justin Curtis, which was an absolute beatdown. It was 35-10. And then going into this tournament, I was very worried about Chaos, and I was able to beat 2 Chaos players round 2 and round 3. Thousand Suns killing Magnus, and then Nurgle, it was Death Guard and Demons killing Mortarion. So very happy about that. Built my confidence up a lot. So going in 4-0 is pretty big for me.
So, and it's big for anybody. I mean, 4-0 at a grand tournament or major is like great achievement. Feels good. Now you're flying close to the sun. We'll see if those wings melt.
Got to keep myself humble.
But so I've noticed a really heavy hammer beta strike in most of the games. Like you're holding back the Aquilon Terminators. So, explain that, because aren't you concerned? Because in some of them, there's been against armies that really have a lot more models than you.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, oh God, he's going to be.
As long as you don't have a lot of invul saves, that's fine for me. Because all my stuff is very, very high strength, very high AP. Everything in the entire army except for shooting is D3 damage. With the addition of the Aquilon, I used to run 9 Wardens for Alaris, the other one. The Aquilons give me D6 shots each, at range 12, strength 6, -1/1. So very good at taking out hordes, and then in combat they can take out anything big. But yeah, like you said, a lot of my strategy revolves around beta striking. I almost always choose to go second so I can get in. Going second against Thousand Suns was very scary because he was able to warp time Magnus, kill a unit in the backfield, and on turn 1 of that game, I was actually, like bottom of turn 1, I was actually down 7-0, and I was able to pull it back. I think 23-17 was our end result.
Yeah, I was actually giving updates for that one yesterday. Now, just very quickly, in this game, I mean, you guys were both playing. I'm sure the internet's going to love both lists.
Yeah, that list was really interesting. It was mono Deathwatch, He even played 2 points for the assassin to drop in instead of just the -1 to keep it. But very interesting list. I'm not surprised that it did well, knowing what it can do. But
You want to give a quick rundown on what he was running?
yeah, he had 2 watch captains and a watch master. He had 2 Contemptor Mortis Dreadnoughts with the las cannons and the missile launchers, and then a rapier carrier with the quad mortar. So that was a spearhead detachment. And then he had a battalion of 2 intercessors, each with 4 aggressors, 5 intercessors, and an inceptor. And then 2 Hellblaster squads, which are also troops somehow, because Death Watch. But they each had 5 Hellblasters, 5 intercessors. The only thing he got to shoot the entire game was the Hellblasters once, because I was able to get in, wrap a squad, keep it wrapped, deep strike again, get in, wrap a squad, keep it wrapped, and just move throughout the entire army.
And at the end, you were really stringing them along to max your points as much as possible, because you got a lot of low point wins.
Yeah.
Actually, kudos to your opponent. He was like, dude, I get it. Like, and he was cool, and you guys played it all the way out. I thought that was really nice. How many points you wind up with?
I wound up with 36 to 8, which is one of my best wins with Custodes.
That's awesome. That's going to help your chances, obviously. Battle Point's going to decide this tournament and win-loss record.
Definitely.
So congratulations getting this far.
Thank you very much.
Lovely having you on.
Thank you.
I'm going to do a quick update. Thank you. You can leave. Only one handsome person allowed on this stream right this second. Very, very quickly, we got 2 more of the undefeated tables to be resolved. Diego Pita and Dusty both seem to think that they could shape up in a draw, which would be unfortunate but also hilarious. And then a little bit further down, we've got the Drukhari, basically mirror match, lots of Talos, Grotesques, Ravagers, good Drukhari stuff. That one, both sides have maxed out their secondaries. However, Tori's got quite a lead on primary and looks like the most amount of units left. So that says to me that he's probably going to be able to get a really good score here and might be coming close to the top table in the 5th round, something like that. So now I'm going to start talking as if I'm wrapping it up, because that gives other people on the broadcast the opportunity to scramble back to their chairs, look at their screens, give that camera a wink, and let it rip.
Quite how long he wanted us to come back for, but he's a wonderful man, and I appreciate him deeply.
I'm really glad. He definitely looked like he was sweating there.
Yeah.
But Val is always sweating. It's just something he does. He has a disorder, some kind of disease. It's
This
a little strange.
that you can see here is the story as is. There's some other stuff that's happened, but effectively we're down to time. Where Mail has got nearly 8 minutes left. Scary, as you can see, been playing very fast and got a comfortable amount of time.
Yes.
And it's very, very close and really interesting. Also, big shout out to everyone watching and listening. Thank you for joining us for this game. It's been really, really fun.
It's been an absolute blast. This has been an absolutely nail-biter of a game. So what you missed while Val was talking to Eric Trock and all those other beautiful people, telling you about all these beautiful games, Scary, on his turn, he ran his Venom over here to grab this objective. He then moved his Talos over here, made a relatively long 9-inch charge into this Venom. And then he took some pot shots, managed to put a couple wounds on a Hemlock Wraithfighter, destroyed another one of the Venoms that had been hanging out. So it's very, very interesting. Mail also, one thing we missed last turn, just because of the way the camera had been positioned while we were talking about the big fight, Mail had his Void Raven bomber in a very terrible position and hadn't realized it until it was too late. He wasn't able to pivot because of the base where he had him placed, and ended up having to fly off of the board.
And so he just lost the Void Raven
just lost
bomber.
The Void Raven bomber.
Wow.
And he just about lost one of his Hemlocks, actually, for the same reason just now.
Really?
Yeah,
but he didn't. He was just in.
Yeah, I believe he just managed to hold it in.
And even as mobile as those Eldar flyers are, like at the end of the day, sometimes he's having. That's one of the issues with those. Not the Void Ravens specifically, but the Hemlocks, those short range flamers, meaning that in order to get near the units they need to get to win the game, means they might just end up just killing themselves turn after. So
yep.
thankfully. So do you know what? I'm wrong from earlier. Scary was absolutely right. He didn't have to deal with the flyers. They dealt with themselves.
Yeah, apparently you can just sometimes they'll just go on suicidal rampages. So looking at the score right now at the bottom, after the top of turn.
Oh my God, Falcon!
5.
It's so close.
Yes.
So close. To quote my friend Dan Sway, this is within a bee's dick of each other here.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. I love bees dicks. We're moving into top of turn 5. Last turn, Scary managed to get another recon point. Like I said, that excellent charge with the Talos, he was able to move around. And here's the line, folks, just so you know.
There we go, and the Talos has just lifted off that Venom.
So that is the midpoint line. The Talos managed to just sneak its way into this corner. With the Venom being up here, he got that beautiful third recon point that Mail was trying to avoid him getting.
Mail tried 2 turns ago to start taking out units to stop him doing recon.
Exactly. So it was a really good play. It was a clutch charge roll is really what it was. 9 is not, without any rerolls, very hard to do. He did manage to pull it off. Good play by Scary there. Good play by the dice as well.
It's nice when they play ball.
Yeah, when those dice start doing what you actually want them to do, it's a big deal. So now it's really starting to turn. Mail had just said that he thinks Scary's got it because with the play here, killing this Venom getting not dying to the Hemlock that had been up here, that was really huge for Scary.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at Scary holding at least 4 objectives. Mail only really has the 2 flyers that can do a ton of damage to him.
And Mail doesn't have much time on the clock to be making decisions and thoughts during his turn.
Exactly.
He's going to have to be using Scary's time to be thinking about what he's going to do next, while still simultaneously trying to react to what Scary's up to at the same time.
Which, by the way, folks, is what you should always be doing.
Always be doing. You should be. It's an economy of thought. You should be spending time in your opponent's turn deciding what it is you're going to do in your turn. Absolutely. And then, as you can see there, the score 22-21. Now, as you can see, Mail has actually only ever he's never killed more. He's only ever just killed a unit per turn. And he's done it every turn, which has been nice, and actually picked up a couple of bonus points, which is good. Whereas Scary's always killed more every turn.
There was the one turn where I believe Mail did score more. That turn where he killed 5, but I believe that was it. Oh, no, that turn, Scary managed to equalize it. They both killed 5 that one turn.
Yeah, he's not...
What a murder fest that was.
The overlay is correct. I'm so proud of the team.
So, Mail has lost another unit. He's kind of looking at everything now. I think he thinks he's in a pretty bad spot. He really just has 2 Hemlocks. He's got a man hiding in a corner way down, well below where the screen is, I believe, down here. Yeah, see right here on this objective.
So he's helping keep him in the game because people are asking about boots on the ground. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, so it looks like Scary was now able to start picking off the Hemlocks.
Oh, Jonathan, thank you for subscribing for 12 months in a row.
The Ravagers just dropped a Hemlock.
And the Ravagers just dropped the Hemlock. Which was up here? John, can we get the top down, please? Just so we can actually see what the hell's going on. That's what we want. Thank you so much.
What happened to the first Hemlock? What happened to the first Hemlock? Because 2 of them are
So we have a Hemlock over here, and the other Hemlock,
suicided himself as well.
Suicided himself as well.
So when I said that I thought he had enough room to escape, he didn't. So the Ravagers blew up 1. So kind of a misplay there.
Void Raven Bomber.
He lost 2 flyers to poor positioning.
Wow.
Trying to get a little too aggressive, trying to clear those units off the objectives, and it didn't work out.
Jared TB, I just want to say thank you for subscribing also on Twitch.
And thank you, Germanticor, for correcting. Yes, Drukhari do get rerolls because of Power from Pain after round 2. So,
yeah. We are just waiting to see exactly what happens. As you can see, there's still that Talos, that cheeky Talos, which is denying the point because the Talos is not dead. It's located here, and that is the extra point that Mail is looking for.
I believe that it's hard to say because the screen's got a little bit of mudge, but I think the Talos is here to charge the lone Cabalite Warrior. I believe he actually removed it. He was there, but he's just like, whatever, I don't even care.
Can we just talk about these Talos, FYI? These Talos have done this. Been here, avoided all the Skyweavers, lost 1 to Skyweaver, went up here, murdered stuff, went here, murdered stuff. He's
traveled the world.
And now this Talos is here. So that's been his route.
Around the world in 6 rounds.
So while we quickly wait to find out what happened, we have someone that actually makes Val Heffelfinger not look quite as boss and as healthy as the man himself does. Oh no, they're talking about sneakers.
They are
using
talking
them
about
English.
sneakers. We'll let them talk because it does look like they're finishing up the game right now. I believe Mail has called it. He's just going to see if there's any extra points he can score. He really just has one unit, and the Hemlock left after that other one decided to... Sorry, not even Hemlock. I believe he just has one unit left hiding on the board.
And Mail only had a few minutes left. Okay, well, let's go over
Let's cut to
Val and
then
interview
we'll
a
come
man
back
who
to
looks
finish this
great. There we go.
So we've already had Muscle Beach on for a recap at the end of round 4 here. Now we have a man who would actually be comfortable on Muscle Beach himself.
I would be. I wouldn't lie about that.
This man actually owns a supplement store.
Self-plug, Boss Supplements. You can get all your supplement needs from us.
He actually cares about your nutrition and health.
Oddly enough, I do.
It's true. I hate him. I hate this man.
Slightly. I hurt his feelings this weekend.
But I also like this man. So I'm conflicted. It's okay. Tory Pete, a man from closer to my hood, Toronto, GTA.
Yeah, GTA. I'm out of Mississauga, so kind of repping CanHammer this weekend, which is
Scumbag.
blasphemy.
Doesn't make any damn sense. Anyway, look. Tory Pete here. He was playing all the good stuff from Drukhari versus pretty much all the good stuff from Drukhari. Mirror match, basically.
Yeah, essentially it was a mirror match. The only discrepancy between our lists was I had 8 Talos, he had 6 Talos, and I had 8 Grotesque and he had 7. But the difference was he had Urain, so he's getting the benefit to attack, so the +1, and he also had Rax to be able to hold objectives. The difference between how he played versus I played, he kind of went for the harder to kill things. From playing Scary so much, learned that it's about getting the kills and trying to get the extra bonus points that you can when you can. So I was trying to go for his easier kills, get his vehicles that are going to hurt my vehicles, and then play the range game. So by turn 2, I killed all his Ravagers and planes, but 1 plane and 1 Ravager. So then I just kind of kept to the outskirts while I slowly whittled him down getting in there.
That was the most cogent stream of thoughts I have ever heard come out of your mouth.
Oddly enough. But and then I also never got into close combat once with all my Grotesques and Talos. I just stayed around the brim, kind of making him, if he needed to come to me, it would pull him into my Haywire or my Ravager shot. So I was just kind of trying to bait him closer to me.
So, like, if we're looking at your list, I like to describe, when I'm list writing, I look at it and I say, where are the cute choices? Where's the fat?
Yeah.
You're a lean man.
0 fat. We're running 6% body fat here, boys. Okay, get ready to go on stage. So we're gonna see what happens over the next few games. I'm excited to see who I play. I know that there's a lot of big guys that just kind of went through.
Speaking of big guys, so we're gonna wrap up. You got a big number win, so this could be the next table match. Let's get Scary over here. Come on, buddy. Oh, look at that. Just a couple of whack, asshole, competitive gamers who hate each other and will do anything for a win. And if anything for a win describes anyone, it's this man, Ridvan Scary Martinez.
It's not my real name, Val.
My real name's Simon, so now we're playing. But you're in BCP.
It's true.
You're in BCP
hey,
as
Chris
Ridvan.
Reese told me not to put Scary.
You were Archon Scary for a
I
while.
was Archon Scary for a while.
You were literally the only person with a fake name on BCP who's ever been called out.
It's, a handle. It's like StarCraft. People have handles. Why not?
Why not? It doesn't make it. It's not fair.
It's an esport now.
It's a T-sport. Hashtag T-sports.
Tabletop sport.
So Scary, I mean, our audience obviously they got to watch you rocking it over there. This is the game I know the least about because I'm watching everything else.
Yep.
So they're informed. Why don't you share your thoughts from your side of the table?
So going into the game, I had to make sure that I didn't underestimate. I've never played this opponent before, and his list was very not conventional. It's got a mix of everything, got the Hemlocks, got a good mix of things, and those are usually the most powerful lists with somebody who knows how to pilot them well. I knew that I had to sort of like survive for the whole game. I knew that my Talos were going to be a big deal in this game because that was like the thing that would flip the matchup for me, and I need to kill those Harlequin jet bikes. Also, my secondaries were very geared towards how I was going to play the game, not necessarily like what would be best to take against his list, but it meant that I was able to play very conservatively and just kind of get the points as it went. And we beat each other up like really, really, really well. Like turn 2, there was like nothing left on the table. It was a bloodbath.
Well, I mean, in my earpiece, I get to hear the commentary as I'm walking around, and it sounded like they thought you kind of bagged it early, but then as the game went on, it was a game. So did you feel like you had an early jump, or did I misinterpret?
No, the thing that really helped is I killed all the jet bikes in the first turn, and my opponent failed to cast a few psychic powers, and I had Cat Lady, I had a Rain deny a good psychic power, and I had my Homunculus with a Helm of Spite also helped deny Twilight Pathways, which stopped him from double moving his jet bikes, which kind of held them. And then he rolled to, I vected his reroll for the charge, which then held his jet bikes in one spot, and then he wasn't able to get into me and like kill me in close combat. Then I was able to counter the jet bikes, then all the characters were there, and there was all my secondaries, and I was able to get, so that's why I clumped all the objectives together, because I knew I was going to jump into him, and I needed to be in a position to get all the objectives as the game went.
So before you burst onto the old competitive scene, about last year, really, once the Drukhari book dropped,
Yeah.
I just assumed you were a snowflake of a narrative gamer. I tuned a few times into Scared Cast. I'm like, who is this guy? He's Mexican, but he's Canadian. He lives in Barrie. It was confusing. Really what you are is a stone cold killer. But you got two, I would call, significantly snowflake choices in your list. One, you've rained these days, right?
Cat Lady, yeah.
Two, Reefer jet bikes, everybody. So can we talk about those choices and how they work in your list?
So I, after going to ATC, I noticed that there was a trend in a lot of like tank commanders and dreadnoughts and things like that. And those Reaver jet bikes just allow me to go and touch something, and that's all they use for. They're a 40-inch threat range with a charge and advance, which is crazy. So you can go and touch anything on the table. You have to stop the mortars from shooting, tag them. You have to stop, a tank commander from shooting, tag them. In most of the games as well, they work as a very, very fast screen that you can move block something with, because they can move, 26 and then 28 inches, which is crazy. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm not even sure that the crowd knew that you had won, and I might have just blown the lead, as they say. Turns out Scary won. What was the final score?
I was 35-24 in my favor.
Well, that was a nice tight game. Brother, you are the defending champion.
Thank you very much.
You're doing all the right stuff to make it happen.
Nothing is set in stone. 2 more games, one at a time.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you. Scary, when I was in Europe as the worst Canadian ETC player of all time, not actually true, but pretty true. He was like the only guy on the team who kind of held my hair as I threw up violently every night. He was just a wonderful man, and I'm almost rooting for him. Come on in, Mael. Direct from Krypton. Why don't we get a little forward here? There you go. Scribble, how we look? A little bit this way. Yeah, all right. More that way. Okay. We were just debriefing with Scary. I know you did take the L there, but we wanted to talk to you about how it felt from your side of the table there.
Oh, well, it was a pretty close game. I loved it. It's nice to play at this level of competition, playing against good players. That's how you become better. So, yeah, that was pretty cool, and I've learned a lot. I've made a lot of decisions, and every decision counts. So that's the kind of game I like.
That's great, yeah. When you get the brain sweats.
Yeah.
You're not moving around very much, but you're just pouring sweat.
Kind of like that, yeah.
Any highlights from what was going on the table for you?
His succubus was really a game changer. He blocked he charged with his Talos, so the Talos was in close combat. I couldn't get out of close combat with the Sharnet and Impaler, so I couldn't kill that Talos. And that Talos was water point, and that's a highlight. I love his succubus.
Hey, never turn Scary upside down. Not sure for sure which way he is, but it's fine. Mael, you were great on stream. Thanks for delivering an amazing game. Really top-tier stuff. I think we're going to let Robbie sign things off for round 4 here at Capital City Bloodbath 2019. Mael, congratulations getting this far. Hopefully you still get a nice finish.
Yeah.
Val, great work there. Great pair of competitors as well, so thank you for being on the stream. It's so excited about the next round was the Falcon, that he's actually flown the coupe of Kakar and has gone to find out who are next. Max Dubois, our table boss, has joined us. And we're just going to wrap up this stream now. The Falcon excited about the next round. Are you excited about the next round?
Oh, I can't wait. Do we know Do we know the matchup? Do we know who we want?
We don't know yet, but there is 2 Custodes lists potentially going to take it. Oh, there's one. Sorry, there's 1 Custodes list potentially going to take out the tournament.
It's a weird one. Also, it's not like jet bikes, and it's not Caladius.
Eric, I think we saw him interviewed
Yes,
a minute
sir.
ago, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just want to say thank you to everyone watching.
Yes, sir. So special thanks to Naosi.
There you go.
There's no stock
There's the
nest.
Falcon. We're going to take a break now. Thank you for joining us. We're going to come back with some great coverage. These 2 have been amazing. So Scrivo and Val. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please join us for the next 2 games to see who will be the winner of Capital City Bloodbath.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Goodbye.